welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mutilus on the forum.
And this is Parker. Go by Dr. Mantis Toboggan on forums. MD.
This is Jeremy. I'm done with forums. I'm done.
No,
It's cheated on me.
Forums.
I'm done.
Done with the forums.
Are you saying that you're going to divorce the forums?
Finally, the papers came through.
Oh, shit. Damn, that's ice cold.
Cold as ice, I know.
I unfortunately am in the other boat. I'm going to start spending more time on the forums, I think.
Oh, God.
Why? What
Dirty.
did you do to earn this?
I just want to actually start, like, when I have a rules question, I want to get actual clarification now that we're, like, probably going to start traveling for events and stuff. As opposed to just going, yeah, it's probably right, and then just playing it that way for the next year.
I don't know. I think I'd rather live in ignorance, but you go right ahead. You plow that field for me. I don't mind.
Yeah,
Hashtag
exactly. That's
plow
the
that
problem is I'm always the one to do everything that everybody else doesn't want to do.
It is
But
true.
anyway. So let's kind of get into it. So quick announcements. Parker has worked himself all the way down to 630.
Mm-hmm.
That seems right.
One episodes of probation.
I'm really excited.
Mhm.
I really like this program where if I can keep saying Dompier the whole episode or
Mhm.
Wesley the whole episode, that I can maybe keep knocking some of these off here. This is a goal of mine.
I also prefer Mr. Snipes is also
Mr.
acceptable.
Snipes. Mike,
I was informed by a listener. You've been ratted on. Apparently, I missed a blade last week.
I was really hoping nobody caught that. It actually happened during the post ramble, and I was really sad.
Oh, did it?
It did.
And you were just really quiet.
I was just really quiet after I did it. I was like, "Oh crap!" It's because we were trying to make a list with him, and I forgot. Yeah, it happened during the post ramble, and I
Okay.
thought you
Well,
actually.
at least you noticed it. There
I
we
did.
go.
I saw. I heard it happen, but I
All
was
right.
just. quiet.
Jeremy, do you remember what the secret word is that Parker's not supposed to say? I do. I just want to make sure you remember.
I do not.
You don't?
You didn't even tell me. You were like, you'll know.
I did tell you. I told you at the store one day when you
You'll
were there.
know is what he says.
I don't know it.
All right, I just messaged it to you on Discord.
Okay. Let's see.
So we need to try and steer the conversation into that direction to get him to say that word. That way we can start loading it up with more bad ones.
This is my least favorite game, by the way.
This is my least favorite game.
Oh, stupid ass thing.
All right. So Parker, I think you have some news.
Ooh,
for
I got
us?
some news. News. Okay, I am super excited to bring you this news. It is, it's time for what would you call this? Marvel Crisis Protocol 1.1. Is that what this is? Maybe 1.2. I don't know exactly what this is right now. But
1.1 is probably correct.
yeah, 1.1. We've got a brand new Marvel. Marvel Crisis Protocol is dead. Long live Marvel Crisis Protocol. We got the rules update, along with the official cards that you can print off in PDF form, and we got some new gems, and we got the rules for those. And we also, very surprised, kind of out of left field, tactics cards also showed up. So here we go. We're not going to be spending a lot of time in news about the stuff we did not. The stuff we already knew about. We're going to try to gloss over that pretty fast. But the new stuff, for example, the banned and restricted update, which is something that we all saw coming, but it is now banned and restricted, has been added to. First new restricted card is Bitter Rivals. Bitter Rivals has been restricted. I believe we called it here, right? We were pretty sure it was heading down that road.
Yeah, we'd been talking about this for a bit.
Yeah,
we were pretty sure.
Tell me, no, I've had this played against me, and I didn't feel it was too egregious. I've played it before, and actually not brought it into a game. What about this makes it so egregious? What's the matchup?
It's very matchup dependent.
Yeah.
If it's all about how many models your opponent has, and is their list dependent on being close to each other. Like Avengers, for example, Avengers with Steve would be a really rough list for this to be played against, because you're losing all those defense dice, all those attack dice, and the list doesn't hit too hard anyway. But if you're doing something like, I don't know, like Dormammu with two other guys, it probably doesn't matter too much, because who do you play it on? If you play it on Dormammu, then he's not affected, and so you're only going to hit maybe one or two other people. It just kind of depends. Also, if your opponent activates somebody in the middle of their army and then you can play Bitter Rivals against it, it's extra punishing because now they can't get rid of that guy and like run them away to get rid of the negative. It just depends, but it's just a very strong card and it outperforms a lot of the other cards of the game.
Jeremy, do you like that it's restricted now? Do you think it'll actually pop out of your list sometimes, or did you even play it before? I can't remember.
I think I was one of the first ones around that was playing it. Like,
Mhm.
it's a universally good card. Like, it doesn't matter what list you're running or anything. You look down and go, I have that. I'm about to try and do some things. You play the damn thing. It's just that good. Now that it's restricted, whatever. It'll cause you pause to maybe not take it now instead of just being an auto include, which is good.
Right.
That's fine.
I'm going to talk about another member of the restricted list here a little bit later when we get to something we found on the Team Tactics cards. But let's talk about banned real fast. New banned card was a Crisis. Panic Grip City is evacuation effort. Wait, we already knew that one. Why is that one in blue?
This was originally restricted, now it's banned.
Oh, that's right. There you go. So it was moved from restricted to banned. So the Panic Grip City is evacuation efforts continue is now just dead from the game.
Currently.
Yep. So if you have that card, go ahead and bend it, burn it. It doesn't matter anymore. Just
don't
get rid.
Don't burn it. Don't bend it. It might eventually get unbanned. I
You
doubt it, but it's possible.
should probably just give it to a toddler and let him have at it.
Just let him eat it.
Yeah. Are we sure it's banned? Just because even when it was restricted, it wasn't good enough. People were still abusing it
This,
too
I
hard.
believe, was one of the missions that was abusable on a script type game plan.
Right.
Where it's like, I'm going to take characters that can plan to get to 6 power by turn 2. I'm going to pick it up and hand it off with this other mechanic. It was just one of the more abusable ones, and it could get out of hand really fast. Because if you pick up a lot of these points early on, you're scoring them while you're holding them, and then when you evacuate them, you get bonus points. So you get, at minimum, usually 3 turns of scoring out of each token you get your hands on if you can manage to evacuate them. And once you evacuate them, there's no rebuttal for your opponent. It's kind of like a less all-in version of Deadly Legacy Virus.
One of the things that kept coming up with this one particularly is even when it was restricted, it still was in people's lists from time to time. Mm-hmm. And it did exactly what the people who made the game were trying to say, like, not to do, is create a real bad experience. And when people would play that one, it was in order to create a really bad experience for your opponent, because there isn't a rebuttal. Like, you're playing a list that will grab the guy and then evacuate it, and then suddenly there isn't anything they can do about it. It's just a nasty play experience. So I mean, they thought. What's funny is we thought, okay, restricted makes it so people aren't going to take it, but Black Order doesn't give a shit about restricted cards. It'll just take it. Like, it can still take it.
The problem is it only stops the general public from doing it. It doesn't stop the people that are going all in. And so the people who are going all in are still going all in, and when it happens, it happens. This is why I'm really against the random mission selection, is because it's not going to stop people from putting these combinations together. It's just going to make it to where less people get shit on by it. But that's not fair, because some people are still going to get shit on by it. Like, you shouldn't go, well, this is banned in 1 out of 3 games. You're like, that's not how the game works. Like, it needs to either be available or not available. Making it more random is not making it more fair.
So you like that they banned this, just went ahead and banned it.
Yeah. If this mission was causing issues, and I do believe this was one of the most abusable missions, 100% just ban it.
There you go.
Like, get it out of the meta, let's move past it, and you can make another mission that's very similar, but not as abusable.
Yep.
And if you get that one wrong, ban that one too. Make another one that's less abusable. Just dial it in, guys. Like, it's fine. It's better to get rid of problem cards than let them ruin the game.
So speaking of problem cards, is this a problem card? Because this sure got banned. All You've Got. As somebody who's played All You've Got a lot, like, I've played All You've Got a lot. As somebody who played it, I never felt like, was it that broke? I never felt like, man, I'm really giving my opponent a really negative play experience by playing All You've Got. Is it just because it's just more solitaire machine? Solitaire Crisis Protocol.
You're a heartless monster. You're a heartless monster, Barker. Like,
I guess.
Getting your face kicked and then getting kicked again before you're like, it was very bad. Also, The one thing that was happening that we never did around our parts was the Enchantress double whammy gotcha, blow up your army, and then bring her right back to life with no consequences. And that was all because of that card.
How about this? Is there any other single tactics card that affects a game in the way that All You've Got does? Like the gaining an extra activation with a character.
The Cabal one, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't generally happen immediately, and it has arguably it's harder to pull off and has a similar negative cost. Like you're rolling 3 damage dice against yourself, which probably people will immediately go, yeah, but that doesn't immediately kill you. It's like, well, it might. Like, depending on the situation, all you gotta do is get somebody to 1 or 2 remaining health, and now Cosmic Invigoration's off the table. Not to mention, it requires 2 people, one of which must be named Red Skull, and you must be playing a specific affiliation, and they have to be within range 2 of each other.
Well,
like,
and
that's a lot of extra restrictions. And even then, Cosmic Invigoration is amazing. Like, that's the point.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's like the difference of Medpack and Patch Up. Like, that's the difference we're talking about. And which one gets played, the one that's easier to play. Because there's no chance All You've Got kills you before you get the action. And that's a huge difference. Considering most characters have a health pool of 5 or less, it's not hard to get them to within 3 of dead, and you might just roll bad.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big difference.
Yeah, I was just looking for an example.
Yeah. But exactly, like, Cosmic Invigoration swings games when it happens. Not to mention, you have to have already activated one of the 2 characters, and it doesn't let you do 2 activations back to back, which is another benefit of All You've Got.
Yeah, it was a bad one. Also, they did a bunch of things. So when we move along these cards, there's a lot of things that are happening that got kind of nerfed back down, which we saw it happen before when they first did their banned and restricted list. All of a sudden, these heavy hitter cards that are just like, take your models and dumpster them, like just a swing move. They took those back out again. Like every time they pull them out.
When anytime you're like, was All You've Got really too broken? Heave Ho is a card in the game. Like, yes.
Yeah.
Look at the other cards per capita. They are trash in comparison to the ones we're talking about.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's if the restricted and banned lists are basically their way of saying, oops, our bad. Like we thought this would be a cool effect. Like, yeah, you could activate, your character again, but well, I mean, it's called All You've Got, right? It's the idea that I don't care what happens to me. How many times has Spider-Man stood up, bloody and broken and bruised and did, went that extra effort to do something awesome again in a comic book? Like they wanted to create that moment in the game where you were sacrificing a character to do something amazing or way outside of what your opponent expected. They wanted that to feel like that moment. How many times has that happened in a superhero comic, right? But instead, what they made was, when people looked at that card, they went, okay, I'll make sure to double activate them and then get field dressing there so that, like, Wolverine healed 4 while not dying and taking out a model and a half or 2. Like, that's what would end up happening with the game. And that's the meh.
I wouldn't be surprised if the next card like that doesn't say KO'd, cannot be healed, and must be removed from the board. Like, I think that was their intention. Right, that was to me what they were trying to do. Is one model gets to go twice, and then you just kill them, like they're gone. Well, that's not.
Also,
what
keep in mind though, like with missions like Deadly Legacy Virus in play, that's enough. If they're not going to ban that mission, this is a massive card on that mission, and I don't think it's really fair. Like, what if you have a Thanos or Enchantress or Black Cat type character that can just spend 4 power, move all the way across the board, steal the 3rd objective, and die anyway, so All You've Got never even triggers. It's like, that's a huge swing on a mission like that.
I also thought another way, an easy fix to All You've Got is just if your character's on the injured side, like don't let She-Hulk and Hulk can't play it. Like it's not possible. You can't even play it. No one fucking matter. Like it's just She-Hulk and Hulk can't play it. That's fine. If your character's on the injured side, All You've Got doesn't
change. Just say the character is removed from the game.
Yeah.
That would be the terminology you knew.
It's a cool idea, and I think they'll fix it soon. I think one of the cards will pop out that is what they really want.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I'm surprised we're getting errated cards. I would have imagined they would have just put new, updated, similar cards in the game, and just says like, all right, like, which card are we talking about? Oh, we haven't gotten to the other ones yet. Never mind. Sorry, I'm skipping ahead.
Well, I mean, we can get there now.
I do want to address something real quick while we're on the banned cards, though.
Go for it.
there are some people online complaining that they have recently purchased this product solely for the things that just got banned. One person, in example, was someone on Facebook complaining that they wanted a 19-point extract mission and bought the evacuation efforts box set just to get the mission card, and then like a week later it was banned, and the person like never really even got to play with the mission. And so like, yeah, I get it, guys, like obviously that sucks, but if you're, in my opinion, specifically on the mission card topic, if you're buying a restricted mission in a box set and the only card you actually want is that mission card that's restricted, I think that needs to kind of like, you need to take a step back and look at your buying habits. If you're only buying stuff on restricted lists and that you're just throwing the rest stuff in the box set away, you should probably limit your purchases in other ways. Like, if that's a problem for you, then you probably shouldn't have bought that box set. It was already like on the red list. Like, this card is overpowered.
I mean, I don't know if I totally agree with that. It's definitely on the manufacturer to make sure the stuff they make is buyable. But I will say, let's talk about like buying power. If this person was willing to spend, what was it, 35, 45? I don't know how much money that box was. How much?
I think that comes with Star-Lord, so it was like $25.
Okay, so somebody's spending $25 for a single card, and that's really the reason why they bought the box, and that's the only reason they bought the box.
Star-Lord.
Okay, sure. If they bought Star-Lord and they didn't care about Star-Lord at all, they're functionally throwing away all the other stuff. It had zero value to them, and that's why they're mad. Like, they go on there saying, "I'm so mad because the reason I bought the box is there." Then you should have bought the card, because I don't think you'd have to buy the card for $25.
There's not a great aftermarket, but yeah,
sure. But what I'm saying is, I don't know if that's why you bought the box and you were willing to spend $25 for it. I think you should. I don't know if you deserve it, but I'm like, you spent $25 on a single card, just hoping that nothing was going to happen to it in its presence in the game. Seems kind of silly.
Yeah. I think they're just bitching to bitch, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, it comes down to what is the percentage? Like 10% of people who buy these models are actually playing this in a tournament style format using every rule that they put out. I mean,
right, true.
Get over yourselves, people. Fucking just play the card, play your friend.
Yeah.
If someone sat down as a new player and said, "I want to play 20 points, can we do it?" I don't give a fuck. Like, sure, why not? Like, play your little game. Like, different people play.
So my observation here is, I assume either one of two things is happening. The person is playing very casually and truly only cared about the 19-point mission, in which case I don't believe they would have bought the $25 box set. You would have just worked it out some way, like with an opponent as a friendly game, which is what Jeremy's saying. And I think that's something that could easily happen. And if you're truly not abusing the mission, I can't imagine your opponent giving a shit. Or two, you are actively trying to abuse an unbalanced mission, and you spent $25 to gain an in-game advantage that the company has already said they weren't comfortable with you having by restricting it. That's on you, I think.
Right.
Like, you knew that you were trying to gain an advantage that probably wasn't fair. Because if it was fair, it wouldn't matter what mission you had. And so it's one of those two things. Either you're a casual player that could probably just find a game and still play with your mission, or because like the banned and restricted list is only really for like competitive play anyway, which is again another reason I think we need the fucking tournament packet, because this kind of stuff would be clarified.
I think we'll get to it in a second. Do you want to just go ahead and jump to the new tactics cards? I can go.
I think we're there. Yeah, okay. That was kind of the last one.
Okay, speaking of, I thought that the banned restricted list is the way they were going to police and monitor the maintenance they were going to do on tactics cards. But apparently, they're willing to errata them. And I think it's really obvious what we're going to talk about. I'm going to go through some of the rules here, some of the ways that they changed them. I think it's really obvious how they wanted to change them because they came in themes. Some of them broke the themes, but most of them were themes. So let's talk about the very first theme, which is making some of them more power cost accessible, and that is Ricochet Blast and Thunderwave. So Ricochet Blast and Thunderwave remain exactly the same as they used to be, except now they only take 1 power from each character as opposed to 2. But that's it. They just made it cheaper, more accessible for characters to actually play.
Yeah. This is a good change, but honestly, I would be fine if these cost 0 power.
Right.
Like, these are not game impacting cards in my opinion. Repulsor Blast, I think, is underrated.
You mean Ricochet
Blast? A 7 dice attack that Ricochet Blast, sorry. 7 dice attack that you get to reroll your attack dice is solid, but it requires 2 characters. Obviously, the characters are better now than they ever have been, but it's still just an attack. I don't really care. I mean, I think it's fine. It costing 1 power each is very doable, and it's fine.
I wish they would.
Both of these characters.
I wish they'd get off this whole use your attack to do this special attack bullshit.
Yeah, I would like to see
free. Just do the damn thing.
Yeah, I would love to see these be a 3 cost per character, but you get an extra attack. And that would be cool because you're doing like the special team up thing. You're paying a cost that's appropriate. You're getting the extra attack. And so it's part of it would be that, you get to go do this cool dynamic move, but also you're gaining action efficiency. You could do it out of turn. It's like, before Hulk activates, I'm going to do Ricochet Blast. And then Hulk's going to run in and Hulk smash you. It's like, you do cool dynamic stuff like that. And I think you could just make it cost appropriate for the value of the abilities. But yeah, I have to spend one of my 2 actions on this card makes it way less interesting to me.
Because they're almost never builders. You don't get anything. It's really weird.
Yeah.
I don't like most of the attacks that cost an attack. Just kind of annoying.
Now attack cards that cost an attack are very questionable.
Ricochet Blast is ridiculous, though, with all rerolls and stuff. Like, it's legit.
It's a good one. Costing 4 power was definitely over the top. Mm-hmm. Thunderwave. I remember reading Thunderwave and going, wow, they made Ricochet Blast look really good. All right, so let's see. It is a beam 5/6 dice. Mm. And that's it. It's like, that's the card. Beam 5/6 dice. Okay. Yeah, that's probably still never getting played. Thunderwave is real bad.
Yeah.
Ricochet Blast at least has value. I know they're scared that the Beam 5 would you'd kit like 4 people, but come on.
Yeah, Ricochet Blast is not nothing. Although if you're gonna spend any power to just do an attack, I almost want to, I don't even know if you just do the Iron Man's satellite beam thing he has now.
That's what I was looking up now.
Yeah.
The fact that it costs 2+ is fine.
Mm-hmm.
It also has explosive.
I mean, I guess
it's fine.
If you really wanted to be silly, you could do both, but I don't know why. So with that's happened. They try to make those more accessible. The other tactics things they got was Pentagram of Farale didn't change much except now costs 1 more than before. I'm guessing that's because they didn't want Doctor Strange to do it first turn. Is that the idea? Or what's?
I think just in general they thought it should be more costly.
I think they changed the timing on that too.
I don't think.
No, it's identical. I checked them both.
Oh, really? So it's power phase?
Yeah, it's power phase.
They did a lot of things, like you said, with what they got going on. Like,
it was one of the most powerful cards in the game.
Yeah.
It was very, very good.
What's weird is they nerfed it all. Like, everything that worked together in this kind of clump of things, because we'll get to advanced R&D here in a second.
Right.
But all of these things.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. All of these things work in that whole first turn gotchas. They really took a punch. They did a bunch of stuff out of it.
One guy was bragging at the tournament we went to in St. Louis that he dazed a character on top of one. First character activated and dazed somebody.
Yay.
Because who was it? It was Hawkeye went through the Defenders. He was playing Defenders. Hawkeye went through the Pentagram portal and just roasted I want to say Nebula or Crossbones or somebody. Just full one-shotted him.
Oh, shit, man. MODOK can do that a lot better.
Sure, exactly. You could do all kinds of stuff.
Scarlet Witch will nuke the shit out of anything.
Yeah. I don't know if you have to be range 5 to get consistent attacks or not. I don't know if range 4 cuts it. Because I think he said he used Hawkeye. I can't remember. I didn't pay too much attention as soon as okay, well, that's obviously a gotcha, whatever, who cares?
Yeah, congrats.
It's you spent one of the most important tax cards in the game and a model to daze a 3-point character.
I'm sure Hawkeye survived.
Yeah. Anyway, Parker.
So another theme is changing things to happen during a character's activation to make it more difficult to pick exactly when strategically you want to deduce things. One of those was advanced R&D changed exactly for having to activate during the donator's action. So now instead of happening anytime, you have to in the turn where the character that has the 5 up to 5 power and wants to donate to everybody else, it's during their turn. So they have to activate, they lose their power, it spreads everywhere else. Gamma Launch, which is Hulk's one now, also has to happen during his activation, and he actually has another theme added to this one, a restriction as well, which is he can no longer throw anybody with an objective. We'll get to more about objective stuff here in a second, but we'll real fast. We'll just talk about during the activation stuff. So R&D now happens during activation, and so does Gamma Launch.
I am so happy that Advanced R&D finally got nerfed, so that people can shut the fuck up about this stupid bad card.
Oh man, now it's like completely different. Like it's a different card.
I fucking hate this card. It's so not good. I watched several people play it over the weekend in St. Louis, and not one of them I thought gained any advantage by playing it. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you just automatons that do what the internet says? Like, nobody. It's like, all right, I attacked, like, who was it? It was Daredevil, I think. Daredevil moved to the middle point. I did like 4 damage to him, and he's like, Advanced R&D, spreads all of his power out, and I'm like, okay, so now Daredevil's worthless. Like, I don't understand what you're doing. Like, why? Like, it was very annoying. Like, I get it. I get the scripted stuff where it's like, I need 2 power to pick up 2 objectives. I get that. But, like, a whole tactics card for that seems not worth it to me. Anyway, I think Gamma Launch is an unfortunate loss, so that Hulk can be good, because Gamma Launch was very good. And so now that Hulk is going to see the table, I think this might be an overreaction, but might be necessary.
Yeah, it's a whole new world. Whole new world with a Hulk in it and all kinds of crazy shit. So
yeah,
they did a bunch of stuff at once.
Yeah, there's a bunch of themes in this in these new unforeseen changes. Is we knew that Hulk was going to get better, so oh shit, all this stuff behind Hulk. We knew this character was going to get better, so whoa, we got to go back and make this harder to do. Gamma Launch definitely is something.
All right, I need to do an intermission here real quick, guys. You should appreciate this. This is a new brand of pre-mixed drinks I've been trying. These are very good. Have you tried these?
I have not.
I've seen those on the
called Mule.
I've seen those on the shelf before.
They were sampling it at one of my local liquor stores. So this is a London Mule. So it's made with gin. All the ones I have tried have been very good right out of the can. Normally when I get those pre-mixed mixed drinks, they're always terrible. It's like, okay, so you basically put sour mix and poison in a bottle, and you're like, buy this, please. But these are actually very good. They have a lot of really good flavor. So, PSA done. You can continue.
Today's episode brought to you by Pre-Mixed Mules. Okay, next, what's up?
So, next up, going on with a Gamma Launch, not being able to throw anybody with an objective, Rainbow Bridge is exactly the same, except now no longer can you teleport as Guardians with objectives. So you can't teleport somebody with an objective now. Again, obviously, these Guardians were already very good objective games, and they're very good at solitaire because they didn't have to interact to gain enough power to do all the interactions that you wanted with stuff in the game. So they wanted Rainbow Bridge to be less punishing for, I'm just going to bounce around and move around and no longer engage with you because I'm an Asgardian.
I might be in the minority here, but I think Asgard is basically fallen off the map at this point. The extra power thing in the solitaire games they used to play was cool and cute and everything, but they were really winning on the back of Enchantress and Valkyrie being really, really strong. And now that they're not, and one of their best tactics cards has also been heavily nerfed, man, I don't see them getting played like almost ever now. I think we had one Asgard player in St. Louis, and that was Chuck, and Chuck just does what Chuck does, so it doesn't really matter.
I was surprised in all the changes that we saw that we didn't see a Thor change.
That was the one that Brandon and I talked about that a lot. Where was Thor here?
Yeah, how did Ghost Rider get buffed and Thor didn't? Because Thor was way worse than Ghost Rider before.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a couple things coming down the pipe very soon. I don't know.
I could see more Asgard releases coming, like Sif and like the Warriors 3 or something, to like give them some more options, or like a Heimdall kit or something.
I'm actually expecting a new Thor, like Asgardian.
Yeah, like a Ragnarok Thor could be really cool, or a Thor with Guardians 4 or Guardians 3 coming out.
Right. I actually see a second Thor coming. I anticipate a second Thor. Is what I think.
Do you think? And maybe we just don't put the stock in it that others do. I kind of feel like Asgardians are just supposed to ride Angela to victory for some reason, and I just don't, because she's really like quite an anomaly when it comes to this game. Like she can do things now that nobody else can do. Like nobody can get on that middle objective, pick up 2 things. Spider-Man
Nobody
can't do
except
that.
for like Peter.
No,
He can't
Peter
pick up
can't
2
do
things.
it. Peter can't pick up 2.
Why not? Why
He can
not?
only pick up 1.
Well, not if you're playing your Lord and Savior Dormammu, you can.
Your Lord and Savior. That's correct. That is correct. You're right. I
It's a
apologize.
whole new world. Everyone gets 2. Why would you play Advanced R&D? Everyone gets 2 power already.
Yep.
So, but really, how is it that Asgard keeps getting kicked in the face, and all they really have left is Superstar
This
Angela?
feels like about an overcorrection that was started 6 months ago and finally hit, but the meta self-corrected.
Yeah.
I feel like this is just an overdue nerf to Asgard, and they never bothered to check if it was still necessary.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it. Like now I definitely agree that place 3 tactics cards should not be able to move people with objectives just in general.
Sure.
But it costs 3 power and it's Asgardian characters only. I don't know, man. That one was pretty niche.
Yep.
That's like saying Gamma Launch. Why doesn't Gamma Launch say you can't place people with objectives? Place 5 is way better, and Hulk will actually have power to do it. And he places other people that don't have to be like Hulk characters. Like that's way better of a card than Rainbow Bridge. I don't understand.
So you're saying you see the objective restriction on Gamma Launch, but maybe not on Rainbow Bridge.
Yeah, but Gamma Launch doesn't have it, right?
No, Gamma Launch
didn't
now.
add that.
No, yeah, they did. Gamma Launch could
They
no
added
longer.
it?
Yeah, Gamma Launch could no longer throw people with objectives.
I totally missed that then. Hold on.
That's why I said that they actually have followed 2
Okay.
themes. There's 2 themes.
Yeah.
Now only during his it now only works during his activation and no objectives, which is the same as Rainbow Bridge.
Okay. If they did it to Gamma Launch, then I understand.
I'm not a huge fan of like this homogenization, because some of this stuff felt pretty special. Like you're like, well, Asgard can do it, but they need some, like.
Oh, I agree that they needed it.
There's something there.
But it also puts you in a hole. Like, if all of your characters have access to these overpowered cards, then everyone has to be designed around them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that.
The problem
too.
is the characters. I think the characters were designed without Rainbow Bridge, but I think there was a decent amount of power creep / better design of characters to where the Asgardians are a bit power crept at this point. And also the nerfs didn't help. Although the only thing you could argue is Loki got a slight buff by not having to spend a character slot on the Mind Stone.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, they got pretty much bootied across the table.
Well, they did get something with this last tactics thing.
Yeah, sure.
This is really something. Doom Prophecy did not get banned or restricted, but it did get restricted to just Asgardian. So now Doom Prophecy is now just Asgardian card. What a weird. This is one of those things. This is actually I'm going to breach this, and you guys may talk about this and come back to this card. But I really don't like this tactics card's errata because they made a banned or restricted list, and so I want them to pick a fucking lane, either banned or restricted, or errata every card, because I really don't like the idea that I can't drop off my characters, because drop off sounds like super fun. Like, could they rewrite drop off to make it really hard to do? Well, no, we can't. It's just a bad idea in general. We could never do better with that. Cool, then ban it. You're like, can we make Doom Prophecy something that's never abusable? Well, no, we can't. Okay, well then just ban it. Like, why are you going back? If you're willing to go back for some cards and not for others, why the fuck can you do that? Well, why can you do that? Like, why?
I understand your argument here, and I don't disagree with you. I think it's more of a time restriction than anything. Drop off is not relevant at the time because it's been banned for so long, and we've had pseudo drop off effects with airlift or was that what it's called, airlift on Sam, and then we also have special delivery for She-Hulk. So there's similar effects in the game, even though they're not quite exactly the same.
I think the flavor of that card, I would say the idea was we have to ban it, and they went to ban it. Someone said, "Doesn't that sound just like Ragnarok? This Doom Prophecy thing?" And
it's got Thor's hammer on the front of it.
They're like,
Mjolnir. Yeah.
Oh shit! Let's just let Asgard do it. They can't do shit
I thought
anyway.
when it first came out, I thought it was Asgard only for like a week until I realized it was unrestricted.
Right.
I don't know. I don't think Doom Prophecy is even a good card. It feels like I don't think Doom Prophecy was abusive even. Like, which characters are we talking about abuse Doom Prophecy? Like, without why? Just kill him. It's like he gets one big turn. And yeah, I agree. Carnage is definitely the worst. But it's like, you just kill him.
Yeah. I mean, they have all their issues. Like when you use it, again, it's a bad feeling because some characters just nuke the stuff that you love right in front of you, and you see these like piles of mush left where you had models you painted, and like you just completely ate them. But whatever. That one was not the worst of any of them. That one actually had such a downside that like when you played it,
big downside.
You could go, okay, good. Now I'm going to kill that guy for doing that to me.
But it's there. You know that they have it, so you know that it's only good if they have priority, and it's only good for one activation, really. Beyond that, it's going to be nightmare fuel for them. It's going to be so hard to... It's basically all you've got, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's the fair version of all you've got if we're being serious. Because it doesn't give you action economy. It gives you 3 to 5 extra attack dice, which on its own, for two attacks, is not that scary.
Yes.
It's like, do the math. It's really not that terrifying. It's actually, like 3 extra damage.
That's actually the problem with it, is that it was best used on like Nebula, because you would actually get to reroll the dice. They actually became more valuable, and then who gave a shit if Nebula died? Like, that's actually where it was best. It wasn't good on a 5-point Thor. Like, that's a really bad idea, because you're just giving your opponent... You're not getting anything out of it. You're not going to be able to mod your dice. You'll roll 4 extra dice, and they'll do maybe 2 extra damage, and then huzzah!
The thing for Carnage is that he has the murder rampage thing with us, Paint the Town Red, where he can get to move and attack a 3rd time if he kills somebody.
There you go.
The problem Carnage has is a power issue, because he has to get the 3 power to play Doom Prophecy, and then you're just doing basic attacks. And so you have to have somebody there to actually get power off of, and then you can do Paint the Town Red. But your opponent should kind of know it's coming, because, I mean, it's pretty obvious that you're going to eventually do Doom Prophecy on Carnage, I would think. Like, yeah, it's going to be a negative play experience the first time you ever see it, but they're going to get one amazing turn, but it's not like the end of the world. I would still argue that all you've got on Carnage is a much better play. Sure. And obviously you got banned for that exact reason.
Yeah, these tactics cards that basically remove models or just do like crazy things, it seems like those are just not okay. They don't like that. Even though, look, it's like you gave them extra dice. Everybody with extra dice is way better. Like, what do you think's going to happen? Like, stop making those. Quit making them like that.
I mean, a lot of the extra dice cards are terrible, though. Like, +2 dice is garbage.
Yeah, but they're all for like 1 attack. The ones that say you get it until the end of until you're done murdering.
Yeah, if they started doing cards that like cost 4 +2 attack dice for the rest of the round, yeah, that could be amazing.
So now
I would have played that on Winter Soldier. Now that he's changed, that would be so good.
Or Punisher, yeah, like anybody who has consistent high rate of attack.
Okay, funny thing. It's bad, but a Rube Goldberg for you now that only Asgard can play it. This is a funny card on Hela. This is a funny card on Hela because she actually has 4 physical defense, and if you kill her, she might not actually die. But it's still, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you actually get it to happen, but
I think what was actually, so I know Jeremy said we're about to ban it. I think they were about to unrestrict it because it's so not good compared to the other like restricted cards. Because it's the one-time flash in the pan, and then like it's fairly easy to come back from. As long as they don't win the game by playing it, you can. I think it's fairly easy to come back from because you're going to inflict just as much damage as they do generally. But then they were like, well, we can't unrestrict it, and we don't think it's worth restricting. So they were just going to make it a 1 affiliation only. And then you don't have to worry about people like Carnage. You only have to worry about people that generally have very expensive point costs and
oh my God.
Not a lot of action.
I just realized now, as Guardians, on top of all their bullshit, they have the only faction restricted and restricted Team Texas card. Jesus.
It's ignorant.
Even if you want to play as Guardians, one of our Guardians cards, you've got to not take field dressing, med pack, patch up, or brace. That's so bad. Oh, as Guardians. Oh,
yeah, it would be kind of cool if it was just okay. Now it's Asgardian and unrestricted. But that kind of like makes me feel better. I would feel better about that.
Yeah.
At least it would be a fun card for them.
I'm 100%. When I saw this, that Doom Prophecy is only Asgardian, I just assumed they took it off, and I did not.
Wrong.
I had just assumed. I go, okay, so that's what they did. They did like a kind of a strange, not lateral move. It's more like a narrowing move. That's fine, I guess, because I don't want to play Doom Prophecy on any Asgardians except maybe Hela. But so okay, cool. And then that's what they did. Wow. Well, yep. Asgard's. You heard it here first. Asgardians are trash. Go play them if you want to play down or up or whatever you want to do. Go. You want to play handicap? Go play Asgardians, I guess. Jesus.
I mean, from the Asgardian point of view, nothing really changed on that card.
Yeah.
Actually, no, it did, because you can only play it on Asgardian specific characters.
Yeah, you can't play it on somebody.
You can't even play it on allies.
Yeah.
All right, then never mind.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Okay, so moving on with other news. Gyms are gyms. Nothing really changed about them. They're still
What?
The Infinity Gems. The only space and time are the only ones that got rewritten. All the others are the same.
It's kind of a big deal.
We already knew about them. We already talked about them when we did Black Order, right?
Okay.
I said we're going to gloss over the things that we've already talked about.
All right.
But space and time are now 1 point, so they do slightly. Space is the same, but time is totally different. No longer you get 2 actions. Now you get to reroll. Very similar to
space only costs one list point, and then Time Stone is on attacking. You get to reroll. You get to recal even skulls.
Yeah. So from that point, we can go on to the character updates. So the character updates that we knew are still there, of course. Bullseye, Captain America, Captain Marvel, Corvus, Ebony Maw, Enchantress, Gamora, Ghost Rider, Green Goblin, Groot, Iron Man, Kingpin, Medusa, MODOK, Rocket, Shuri, Star-Lord, Ultron, Valkyrie. Those are the ones that we were really sure of and we saw no changes with. But there were some surprises. There were some things in there that we did not expect. So the first one that we did not expect was Black Panther was on the list. And his were pretty minor. The main thing was they gave a size restriction to his strike push. So no longer can he just bop anybody, backhand people off. It's now size 3 or less. Also, they modified his King of Wakanda affiliation just slightly, just to better accommodate the new rules about when do you modify dice. But they didn't change it from anything that breaks anything, just made it more in line. Anybody super upset that he now can't backhand the Hulk?
No, it's definitely fair. We thought originally when this guy came out that it was kind of a nerf before scenarios got really important, like good. We were like, oh, well, they're just trying to make it so you can't, like, Mantle of the Black Panther and then hit people twice, because that would be way too much damage. And so now it's becoming more obvious. It has become more obvious over the years that it's actually just a powerful scenario ability. So this is kind of bringing it back in line with other abilities like it.
Speaking of Wakandans, Okoye also made the list. She now does not gain 1 power on her Spear Blast, so she can't just stand there. Unlike Captain America, which now can stand there and throw a shield, she cannot just stand there and Spear Blast all game and continue protecting. She has to get closer in order to gain any power. But that was the only change to Okoye. What do you guys think of that?
Didn't she used to get to reroll an attack die?
Correct. She can't reroll her attack.
Yeah, they got rid of her attack reroll as well. She can only reroll on defense now.
When this character is oh, you're right. That is martial artist now only says defending. There you go. I missed that.
No. General of Dora Milaje is the name of the rule. You're reading martial artist, which is
you're right. Sorry, martial artist is always defensive. Yeah. It's general now.
I am still correct though. You are correct.
Well done
about me being correct.
But Vibrative Spear Blast has the same stats, just doesn't gain 1 power.
So what's annoying about her now is, well, it's not annoying, it's perfect. Like she now has to earn her power to be a bodyguard. Mm-hmm. So she can't just have it.
Well, because bodyguarding inherently gives you a decent amount of power if you're not Steve Rogers and don't actually block everything.
Yeah.
And so she was getting power from that, and she's getting power from spear blasting people, because she's a 2-point model that has one of the best range 4 gainers in the game, and then also has dice mod. Like, it was just crazy. I would have been fine if they just completely got rid of her reroll entirely. I think she's still a little overtuned for a 2-pointer.
I don't know.
She shouldn't have martial artist and a reroll and 3s across the board for 2 points. Like, that's too much.
I mean, she's only got 4 health though. Like, as soon as she loses,
she's 2 points. She has 8 health.
I think she's fine.
Because Nebula doesn't have martial artist, and she has a bad defensive stat.
I think she's less auto include. I mean, I think that's the whole point.
Sure, they're definitely moving in the correct direction. It feels like on all of the Wakandans that got changed, it was very light-handed.
She's still just as hard to deal with as a 3-point model, and sometimes a fucking 4-point model. Like, The rerolls and stuff are just stupid.
Yeah, against
her being power starved allows you to actually ignore her, but
right.
I think she's still going to be very good.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of power, they're so scared of the Hulk being too good now. We actually had a change between the last spoiler of the Hulk and this document coming out. The Hulk stayed almost exactly the same, except now Hulk, not puny Banner. While this character is defending against a physical or a energy attack during the modified dice step, he can reroll any number of defense dice, including skulls. Now costs 4 instead of 3. So they, in between then and now, they're like, oh, this can't be only 3 powers. It's got to be 4.
Yeah.
Steve Rogers, with his reduction in powers, allowing him to do it for 2 every turn, meant that he was going to do it to you at least for 1 attack every turn. And I could see that being a little bit obnoxious. I mean, he's already pretty fucking hard to kill with his stats.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I mean, the Hulk not puny Banner was already fucking gravy on top.
Yeah.
Like, I'm completely fine with it.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten him on the table yet. I'm very excited to.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to be the reason why you take or don't take him. I think you're the gravy solution. But now, the opposite of gravy, fucking meat and potatoes, is the change to Winter Soldier. Oh, damn. They did.
Our listener, or good friend listener, Jake, brought this up as well.
Right. So I got really excited about this boy. His assault rifle, which is range 5 and 4 dice, by the way, has bleed on a wild. He does gain power equal to the damage dealt. They just gave this son of a bitch rapid fire on a hit. Rapid fire on a hit on a range 5. Rapid fire hit on a range 5. They also totally nerf his ability got your back. Oh my god, it's so bad now. They made it 1 extra power. So now if the character is dazed or KO'd by an enemy effect, he can't just immediately do an assault rifle attack. He's got to have 3 power. Oh man. So totally nerfed character. Don't play him, guys. Don't worry if I'm playing him. I'm playing him for the lulz. I'm playing him for the memes. Nobody play this character. He's not.
I'm very excited.
He's not a range 5 rapid fire turret or anything anymore. Like he's bad.
Yeah, I think he's gonna start seeing play.
Oh man.
All he needed was the ability to contribute a little bit and a range 5 backpoint holder for 3 points that has Rogue Agent.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then Spets. Okay, Spetsnaz is not actually a reroll. It's only within range 1. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. This he's got a place for himself as long as somebody's nearby. He's got range 5 attack. Like, man, oh man.
He actually might be able to turn the tables on somebody that gets close.
Oh,
because Hydra Tactics lets him place in close if he's got a friend nearby.
Mm-hmm.
His Red Fury is only 4 power, and then he gets the reroll die when attacking a character within 1. So it's a pseudo 8 dice attack, and then you get to push them away automatically and shoot them. Yeah, he's not nothing.
Yeah.
That's worth putting some thought into.
I actually really like this guy because I love Winter Soldier. The MCU Winter Soldier. The MCU from the comics has always been kind of a wishy-washy character. They've had a hard time describing like who Bucky Barnes is. But I love what they did with the MCU version of him. I feel like this is the MCU version. This is the one with the mask who goes after Nick Fury, and everybody's like, we can't stop this motherfucker. He's the goddamn Terminator. Like this is what I wanted to see out of Winter Soldier. I wanted him to feel this badass. I am really.
I've been thinking about like green stuff and a mask on mine.
Yeah. I am super excited for this Winter Soldier. I am so long-time listener Jake was nervous about it. He's like, I don't get it. Long-time listener Jake. Long-time listener, fantastic person, Jake. Shout out. He said, he's like, I don't get it. And if anyone's ever played X-Wing before, if you're used to these kind of games where you're playing D8s, he is the best combination you could possibly think of. The longest range, 360 degrees around him, shooting twice. It means he's going to be interacting with the game so much more often. His actions will be shooting so much more often than another character. This is actually the other reason. This is the reason why I think Cable is actually a really strong character.
Guess what I just realized?
What?
He can potentially attack 6 times in a round.
Yeah.
He could Red Fury twice and get 4 assault rifle attacks as combo attacks.
Yes.
I'm in. Dude, I'm fucking sold.
Yeah.
I'm playing Cabal, and I'm just doing Winter Soldier and Zemo, and they're gonna fucking kill everybody.
Oh yes, like Winter Soldier and Cabal is a monster because he's getting power every time he's shooting if he does damage. But this is the reason why I think, like, when you read Cable's card, you're like, how could he be that good? It's because on the very first turn, Cable shoots twice, and every turn after that, Cable shoots twice. Like, he's always shooting. He's spending 12 actions of his game is shooting his gun. And that's actually what Winter Soldier can do too. If you actually left somebody close enough for him for a Red Fury, Hydra Tactics, so you have to have 2 power. But if he's got his Lord and Savior Dormammu next to him, like, he could just...
You could probably just use Red Skull to place him on the first turn.
Right, if you wanted to, I guess. The point is, you can get him, like, to a spot on turn 1. Maybe he moves once the game, and then he's just shooting for the rest of the game, and that's amazing. I think You
can actually play, like, pure Hydra now, because you do Red Skull, Zemo, Winter Soldier, Bob, and then Crossbones even. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, there's a decent little selection of pure Hydra people.
Sin is also
Sin as well. Yeah.
So, like, I think it's. Did you say Viper? Viper is also Hydra. Get to use some Viper.
Nope, she's not.
Jeremy, you look so puzzled. Are you staring at Winter Soldier, wondering if he could be good? Because I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I know he's already good. I'm just seeing what points that you're hitting. I'm thinking of him in Spider Foes. I'm thinking of him in X-Force.
Yes.
There's just a lot of great things.
X-Force would be solid because he gets the reroll, so it's easier to trigger rapid fire.
Mm-hmm.
He's good. I mean, I'm a huge fan of rapid fire before rapid fire is even any good. Like, on characters that are shit that have rapid fire, I love it. Like,
Jeremy's out there trying to play Mystique like some kind of idiot.
Rolling dice, more dice, roll some dice. And then sometimes they don't do anything. But
it is the twin laser turret, right? In X-Wing, there was a twin laser turret that was just kind of ruling the meta for a long time. It's because people found out that as long as you continue to roll dice, it doesn't really matter if you're only doing. The thing is, twin laser turret, it was really, really good in X-Wing, and it only did 1 damage max. Like, it doesn't matter if you rolled 3 hits.
It had the Shuri rule where it capped out at 1 damage.
Right, but it was still super good. People were like, God, things are so annoying. It's because they were maximum range, 360 degrees. And in this game, everybody's 360 degrees. This character is maximum range, and he can do more than 1 damage. So I don't think it matters that he doesn't always roll a hit, or that your opponent sometimes blocks 3 and he only did 3. I think what matters is that you're going to make them roll every single turn, multiple times. It's going to be good.
Yeah. All right. What's next?
So, next on the docket is some rules update stuff. A lot of it's what we knew, so we're going to go over this really fast. Priority chooses which deck they randomly pick from, and then the player without priority picks the point total at the start of the game. We knew that was happening. Making an attack has clarified modifying dice step now, so now it's what we always thought it should be. Where you do crits, then you roll. Infinity gems are glued to characters and roster, but don't take up a slot anymore, so you basically pair them together, marry them in your roster. You can now have 2 members of your roster with the same alter ego, but you can't play the same alter ego in one game. 10
Wait, does it specifically say 2, or did you just add that? Is it any number, or is it 2?
It says any number.
Okay. I was like, is it actually restricted to
2? We don't know. So if we get more Tony Starks and more Peter Parkers, then you will be fine.
Okay. All right. I was freaking out.
Oh, by the way, it specifically said alter ego, so that you can still do Captain America and Captain America. They're different alter egos.
Yeah.
And then another one that I do not know if we knew or not, but is one that's pointed out to me actually through our Discord channel. Terrain could no longer be destroyed by the same size terrain being thrown into it. I guess that was an old.
Yeah, that was.
But now
that was a weird thing because characters thrown in terrain only broke if the terrain was smaller than themselves, but terrain broke equal size.
Right.
And so it was kind of abnormal, but the way I explained to people is basically terrain was more dense than a person, and so throwing a dumpster into a dumpster would break both dumpsters. It didn't really, it was, if you ever played Battletoads, it made sense, but if you're playing MCP, it's probably not very logical.
Battletoads. Right.
I like to use as many Battletoads references as possible.
I can tell you one thing about my childhood was every time we turned on Battletoads, we swore a truce that we would not hit each other. And 3 minutes later, we were literally trying to strangle each other with controller cords. Like, we never made it like anywhere in that game. It was like, all right, it's like you would actually knock down one of the walkers, pick up the poles, and accidentally tag somebody. It just immediately turned into celebrity deathmatch. Like it was like we will never leave this scene until one of us is dead. It was like, just stop hitting me.
Okay. So it is a tiny bit of that's a tiny Magneto nerf. Everyone needs to now. You can play against Magneto. It's no big deal. He is harmless.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, Magneto's basically trash now. I mean, the fact that he can't just destroy all the other terrain for free, or at least he has to try to do it. Like, he has to spend 4 power to destroy a size 4 and a size 3 piece of terrain.
Yeah.
That's trash, man. Like, why are you even trying?
Also, Doom Prophecy's in Asgardians now. Like,
he can't even play Doom Prophecy.
He can't play Doom Prophecy.
Or all you've got. He cannot. He also cannot be placed by Rainbow Bridge while holding an objective anymore. Yeah, it's just trash.
What good is he?
What you should do is just take all of your models not named Winter Soldier and put them in a blender. just fucking go to puree. Like, it's not worth it, guys.
So I have a question that's not part of news, but I'm really curious what you guys if you guys have an answer. But that was all the news. I have a question. Would you get when we're in a different topic area because I'm curious. But that was the news. We saw it all.
There's one more thing that was added in the rules. Did you get to that, or are we getting to that later?
No.
We're in the rules section, so go because Parker missed it.
If I missed one, sure.
They have defined. Is this what you're getting at? They have defined what an activated character when they're activated.
Oh, thank God! I missed that.
It's defined.
Where? Show me the word.
I don't have it in front of me. I'm sorry.
All right, I'm gonna pull it up.
Yeah.
That's
a big ass deal.
It is a big deal.
We've had this happen more than once.
Yeah, this has come up in events, and it's never agreed upon.
And essentially, to just sum it up, it is once you play the activated, you can't play any more tactics cards. Bullshit. Now, once it's activated, you're done.
So the end of the character's activation is synonymous with the end of your turn.
Correct.
They both end at exactly the same time.
That's my understanding of it. That's what I got out of it.
Well, I guess I kind of got away with one then, or at least at the time that was the way it was ruled. But
I don't think it was clear. They didn't have it.
It was very unclear, and in fact, they had actively said other things in the past and then not stuck to it. So it's good that it's a thing now, so we know for sure.
I'm looking at activating a character now. See if I can find it.
Okay, after a character has made all of its actions, it may use any of its superpowers and interact abilities or other special rules as it wishes. Then its activation ends. Place an activated token on its stat card. A character with an activated token on it can't be chosen to activate again. That's not very clear.
Yeah, that's not very clear. Doesn't say anything about specifically tactics cards.
A player can end their turn without activating a character if they have few. Okay, so let's just explain passing. I would like to know where this is. Okay. Nope, that's not it. Nope. Where did they explain this? It's not in the rule book. Was it like a forum ruling that you're referencing? Or is it supposed to be like in the book?
Was it not? Is it not part of your?
It's not in the rule book.
Yeah, this is.
I did search activated.
Indication. I didn't miss something.
It would not surprise me if it was just on the rules forum.
It was. I
don't know where you got your information other than Ominous's podcast.
No, it wasn't that one.
Okay. All right. So we'll keep going. Jeremy, go ahead and keep looking for that.
Yeah.
Okay. So Parker, is there anything you were surprised wasn't changed?
That was actually my very first question.
I know. That's why I scooped you. It's Scoops Week.
Thank you. So I was. I actually seconded Jeremy's thing. My big one is what? No Thor? No Thor. So first of all, I was really surprised that there were more characters than we were already spoiled because I just assumed the spoiled characters were the characters. So as soon as I saw, Black Panther at the top of that list, I was like, oh, who's gonna get theirs? Who's gonna get?
Scroll down, and we're very disappointed.
Who's gonna get some? Like I was expecting maybe Miles gets something. I don't know what it would be. Like maybe it's. Wait,
you thought Miles was going to get nerfed?
Maybe something about his stealing. That's what I thought because all the stealing's getting like normalized.
No, because his stealing costs an action already. It's an attack.
True.
The thing I'm upset that Black Cat didn't get changed.
Well, Black Cat,
I understand that she's too recent to be a balance update.
I just knew
but
it.
You cannot tell me that you're going to go nerf Enchantress and not touch Black Cat. That's absolutely ridiculous.
I think we can expect it. It would be really unexpected if it doesn't happen, which they've already shown they are willing to do the unexpected. But I think that...
But that... based on the current trend we're on, that means we're going to play for like 6 months to a year with Black Cat the way she is.
Right. So I think...
And that's what I'm very not excited about.
Well, okay, I'll tell you. The first one was... Okay, to answer your first question, the first one was Thor. I expected Thor. The second one was Hela. Hela is just such in a black hole. I expected something to happen to her. In very much the same way that Ghost Rider got like buffed, so shouldn't Thor. I was like, well, Ultron got buffed, but shouldn't Hela? Like Hela, I felt like is in such a bad place right now in the meta. I don't see her showing up at all, ever. And she
also, in a side note, every interaction for Hela on the forums has been ruled basically against her. Like every time someone finds a loophole, it's like, oh, can Hela use her ability on this? They're like, no, she cannot. She is killed. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
so
it's like literally everything in the game like completely negates her ability.
Right. So I was really
I understand a non-leader character not getting buffed because you can't worry about every miss down low on a non-leader character, but leader characters need to be kept at least, I think, reasonable, which is why I was okay with Cap getting changed.
Mm-hmm.
Cap didn't need anything. Like, Cap worked in the game. Like, he did his job. He had a good leadership ability. But then, like, going over to Thor, Thor isn't terrible. I was hoping he would get a little bit of a polish. But he feels very behind the times for me. But I understand that he didn't. So I kind of... That was a hopeful. And then... Let's see, who else? I was... sure Black Cat was going to get nerfed.
What?
I was sure.
No. I was sure.
How is it okay that she exists in the game, though?
She just knew. They just said they weren't going to go into
but you agree that she shouldn't exist in her current format?
Absolutely not. She should absolutely be different. She should be...
Okay.
She should be exactly the same as Hela. There should be an homogenization. They've shown time after time they're wanting to do homogenization. And I think that change that they made to Hela is elegant and it'll work perfectly for Black Cat. I think absolutely she'll get her comeuppance. And I think she will just be until the time in which they're willing to pull the trigger on her or whenever they can for production or whatever it is the hell they're doing. Like they're going to do it. And actually, since they've already set a precedence and they're not going to wait for production to go ahead and make the character changes live, I would be shocked if Black Cat doesn't happen sooner rather than later. But absolutely, she's going to get changed. No, she is 100%.
Okay, so Enchantress came out in CP28. Black Cat is CP37. So 9 box sets later.
That's a lot. That's a lot of time.
That's not that many.
I think it's a lot of time. I think that was also post-COVID, so it was longer than 9 months.
I can understand the logic, but literally all they had to do is add the keyword action to the ability. That's all they had to do.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but they're clearly not going to do all the models in the game right now. And anytime they see, like, for example, they obviously saw that new Captain America, Captain Sam, should have the ability to get a power on his shield throw. So they went back and gave it to Captain America because Captain America was in the initial set. They were going to start there. And I think Enchantress was part of that initial set, so we can expect the same thing to happen to Black Cat when they get around to it. This is just an unfortunate example where the new Captain America helped the old Captain America benefit. In this case, we've got an older model not being able to bring another model in line until it gets there. I think your question was who should have been changed. I don't think I wasn't even putting Black Cat on the list. I was thinking only Battle Box and right after. And I thought if they're going to fix Gamora and they're going to fix Ultron, then they should absolutely fix Hela, because I feel like she's in exactly the same range of points and like status style. I really dislike that Hela wasn't modified at all. I think
Enchantress is well outside of the first 50, and so it upsets me that they went outside the first 50 to get Enchantress, but then didn't touch Black Cat.
She is?
Yeah, she's in box set 28. The first box set had 10 models in it.
Oh, so 28.
She's in she's like model 65 or 70. I want to say.
She came with Angela, right?
Yeah, no, they were. I mean, they're later. They're not super recent, but they're well after a large chunk of the models in the game. Not to mention, like, they came out super late for when they were supposed to come out.
Yeah, but you're also talking. They did some retouches, and then you're talking about some nerfs. Like, they're two different things, right?
Enchantress was 100% a nerf, correct?
Yes.
So they should have nerfed Black Cat in the exact same way.
I don't think so. I think they're going to go the opposite way. I think you're going to see more models. No, I think you're going to see more models that just steal shit. I think that's a part of the game.
They literally just went in and made Enchantress so she couldn't do that.
No, but she can't do everything. Like, she still can steal. She's just not the best at it. Where Black Cat is the best at it. Different versions of stealing things is okay.
But they made it cost an action. The only character in the game that steals something without an action is Black Cat. Okay. The 3-point model.
Long mover.
The long mover that can place herself and has stealth. That's my only... I don't care if she's good. I'm saying that the ability to double move long and steal an objective should not exist. There's zero interaction. She just does it.
Yeah. Well, someone's always got to be the best, right? I don't know.
Well, when you're nerfing 4-point models' ability to do it, then I don't think it's okay for faster 3-point models to do it. That's my point. There's no logical reason that Black Cat should have that ability without it costing an action.
I think you're talking two different things. Enchantress can do so much different shit.
Sure. I'm not saying... if you want to balance the other stuff on Enchantress's card, I'm fine with that. I'm saying the most important part of this game, which is scenario play, you have a new model that has just come out that is clearly not in line with other models in the game on their ability to interact with scenarios, and I want that brought in line. That's what I'm saying. If you want to give her something else for taking away the ability to double move and do that, that's fine. I'm not going to argue that Black Cat is not balanced like in any particular way. I think she is overpowered, but the problem is that mechanic needs to not exist. No long-term investment, 3 power, and she just takes an objective. There's nothing you can do about it. She can cross like 3/4 of the table and do it.
Yeah.
Or what's worse, she can place 2. If she has 5 power, she places 2.
She has a bunch of power, yeah.
If she has 5 power, she places 2, takes it from you, and then moves long twice. Then the game is over. Like, that objective is gone. For the rest of the game, that objective is gone.
Quicksilver can do it if he spends a Tactus card and 5 power or 4 power.
And has to do damage.
Has to do damage, so there's dice involved.
Yes.
Right. You could also just bodyguard it. Like, there's a lot of stuff you could do. But yeah, I think it's definitely... Oh, and hold on a second. Let me check this. Can you mission objective that? I don't think you can. Because it doesn't say you drop it. She just takes it. I'm pretty sure you can't.
No.
So it ignores the only ability in the game to prevent it. Place 1 asset or civilian token held by this character on an allied character within react while an active character is holding an asset or civilian and would drop it. And then Black Cat says... Choose a character in range 1, move 1 asset token. Yeah, so you can't even mission objective it. There's 0 interaction in the entire game for this ability. As where Miles, you can play mission objective on his attack.
Or bodyguard it, or whatever.
Or bodyguard it. It's an attack, so it follows normal restrictions on attacks. Yeah. There's actual counterplay, and it costs an action.
And a power. It costs a power, too.
It costs a lot of power. And so Miles can come from almost as far away. Not quite. He's still slower than Black Cat by a noticeable clip. But he's at semi-comparable speed because he goes place 3, move medium, attack range 2, and he forces you to drop it. But that's costing 2 power to place, 3 power to Venom Blast, and then another power to pick it up if you want to not just look like an idiot at the end of the activation. So all of that, and there's counterplay for it. And yeah, so I think Black Cat needed to get changed. And it would cost them almost nothing to just type action : in the text box somewhere and print the card, and I don't think anyone could ever argue that's not fair. We're not talking about Shuri where it's just a balance issue.
Well, I do see Black Cat in like every list now. It's kind of a thing. So she's kind of like the new Okoye. Like, it's just in your list. It's just so solid. Like, there's no reason not.
But it's not. She's the only thing in the game that does this now because they've nerfed all the other ones. So she's now the only thing that does it that aggressively. And it costs you nothing to put her in your list.
She probably is in your affiliation, too.
Yeah, she's also in 3 affiliations.
Accidentally.
She's in a bunch.
Yeah, she's in 3 affiliations.
Anyway, so that's my rant. She definitely needed to get hit. I understand she's very new. for the people that were getting adjusted, but this is obvious stuff.
The fact that they went out of their way to nerf Enchantress is another one of those just like, Asgardians, it looks like you're down pretty low there. I wonder what that dirt tastes like, though. Could you really get down to that dirt? I'm gonna push.
What if I just push your head down further? Can you taste the groundwater? Like,
yeah, can you taste?
And I get it. I'm not saying Enchantress shouldn't have been hit. She was way overtuned and definitely needed to be adjusted. I'm fine with that. I think all of the nerfs we got were very justified. I'm more upset with the obvious outliers that didn't get changed.
I didn't think there was any way Black Cat could be on there because of how new she was, but the fact that you pointed out that Enchantress was also beyond their original statement made me take pause and go,
yeah. And some stuff came out of order, like the Miles and Gwen were way later than their CP number suggested, but still.
So, do you agree Hela should be on this? Like, should have gotten a tweak, or
Hela should have gotten buffed? But that's just like that's a look at the amount of work they're doing. I understand why she didn't, because of all the things on your list, what's the least important? Probably buffing Hela. Like, she's a model that semi-resurrects herself, so you have to be really careful with that. So you have to actually playtest it a lot. And they're worried about doing this new rules update. They've got all this other new stuff coming out. And then they're dealing with multiple other Star Wars games that just got put on their plate. I understand why they didn't get to it, so I'm not worried about it. There's other bad models in the game, too, that didn't get adjusted.
Well, that was your question. Then Jeremy, what's yours? What is yours that you...
Is there something you thought should have gotten touched or you wish had gotten touched that didn't?
I think I've already said it. Thor, to me. Thor's my number one.
Okay. So we all wanted Thor to get a buff.
Yeah, but Thor should have got a buff. Or, I mean, even talking about Hela, they could have fixed this in several ways. They could have gave Helen fucking leadership. Like, why not? She's like king shit in Ragnarok. Just let her go.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what their plan is for Asgard, so it's hard to say what they should have done.
What I don't get is, you say like they don't have time to like playtest things, but they found time to buff Winter Soldier. Like they found time. Like who was crying for Winter Soldier?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that point.
Like they found time.
But Winter Soldier's like active in the MCU. Like Hela died in the MCU, so
I guess
But think about it, if you're like if you pulled 100 people off the street and it was like, do you care more about Hela's character or Winter Soldier? Like 98 of them are going to say Winter Soldier. And so it's a popularity contest there. And Hela's a much cooler, interesting character, I think, than Bucky. But Bucky is so much more mainstream.
So our two big misses, Black Cat.
I have two that I disagree with. You guys, I'm fine with Thor. I don't disagree with you guys, but that's not one I'm picking.
Gotcha. Black Cat and Shuri.
Shuri is big. It's Black Cat number 1 for me, Shuri number 2 just barely. And then way down, way lower is like maybe Thor. Like those two are so fucking huge to me.
Yeah.
Like Shuri should have been completely reworked in the attack department. Like if they wanted to leave her attack like that, like, it needs to push on a wild, or it needs to only push size 2, or it needs to only push on damage. It cannot be a fucking range 5, 6 dice energy, always push up to size 3. It's so fucking crazy. Like, the fucking faction known for board control doesn't have anything as powerful as that. It's so stupid. Not to mention, she also has one of the best dice mod abilities in the game as a support model. It's very stupid that she exists. And Black Cat is just like ridiculous that it's the only, now, like I said, the only ability in the game that is like it. Like nothing compares. Like Quicksilver is good, but you have to take a tactics card for him to do scenario stuff. And if Black Cat was a once per game, and you have to roll dice. Right. Now the good part is you don't have to play the card before you roll the dice, so it's repetitive until it happens. But if Black Cat had a tactics card to do burglary, fine. I do not care. Like, that's, at least we've restricted it to once per game. But lately, it seems like every game I play, my opponent has a Black Cat on the table. And I look down, I'm like, yep, there's literally nothing I can do. We're playing Alien Ship, and it's your objective. I will never get to interact with it. It's like, what are you supposed to do? It's like, well, last activation, the guy moves across the board, steals the objective from me, and then moves away. And I'm like, okay, so my turn, walk up, roll one attack against her through stealth, don't kill her, and you'll never see her again. It's dumb.
So I was going through the CPs here of any other characters. I'll put another one, another Battle Box character that I don't, and he's actually part of a faction that also got buffed, so it kind of breaks from it. As I'm really surprised they didn't give something to Doc Ock, unless they just want Doc Ock to be exactly where he is, just kind of bland and miserable. But I was actually also he's coming out. He's going to be a main character in the next Spider-Man movie. When you're talking about like visibility, I'm really surprised they didn't touch him. They're making a brand new box set featuring him and Spider-Man like duking it out. It surprised me that they like just to be the reason why I thought of it is when you said like popularity contest and visibility. I was like, man, there is not a character in this game or really in the MCU from the Battle Box that's not about to get more attention than Doc Ock, and he got no love in this. I wonder why. Yeah. Like, what happened there?
Well, I mean, when was the last time you played Doc Ock?
I've tried to play him in Spider Foes. I think some people might try to play him just to play that tactics card, but I don't think it's good enough. He's not good enough.
See, I think the opposite. I feel like Valkyrie came out and all of a sudden he disappeared because for reasons. I mean, they just do two different things, but I think he's legit in a lot of ways. Like he does so much. He's really cool.
So you're saying you've been playing him and you think he's actually not bad?
I think he's not bad.
I mean, his stats are fine.
He's 3 points. I mean, what do we?
Yeah.
Not everyone can be old timey Valkyrie, man.
Right. So the issue I think a lot of people have with him is that he's very dice inconsistent because he doesn't really have mods, and his dice are swingy as hell because he's got Flurry of Arms, which is Wilds count as 2 on his strike, and then he's got Pierce on his ranged attack. So I don't know. It's just all over the place. Like, did you get 4 hits in a Pierce? And because then you're killing somebody, and it's like, or did you hit 3 wilds on your strike? Well, you're killing somebody. It's like, and anything else, he's like, do 1. And it's like, it's just weird.
Well, I'm excited.
His range 3 throw is really, really good.
Yeah.
I'm excited to play more Spider Foes, and I might put him on the table some more and see how much I can do with him. But every time I put him down with Cabal, and I felt like he could do something. But with I don't know. The only reason I'm saying this is they buffed Ghost Rider. Because I think another popularity contest, right? Like,
yeah, I think that was he got random hate from somebody they listened to a lot. Right. I don't know. And then he got buffed. I'm like, I do not understand.
Yeah, he was perfectly fine, but he is a fan favorite. People love Ghost Rider. So they felt he was undertuned somehow, and so now they're putting him in. Where were they? I mean, they just made a new fucking Dr. Octopus model. Like they know he's going to be a main character. And he's a frenemy in the new Spider-Man movie. Like, how do they, I don't know. I feel like that's a total whiff, total miss. I could, like you said about Hela, she's such as a side corner pocket of this game. Maybe you could play the rest of this. I could play this whole game for years, and somebody goes, "Do you know Hela was a character?" We're like, Hela, really? Like, I could probably do that. But Dr. Octopus, like he's the main fucking part of the
I don't know. I feel like a lot of the reason he doesn't see a table too much is because his model's so bad. Like, his model's really dumb.
And he's getting a new one. That's why I wonder why he doesn't have.
No, but I think honestly, once you see the new model come out, people will be so excited to get him on the table just to look at the model. And then he might catch on. Especially now that a lot of the other 3-pointers have been brought into line.
I don't know why you guys aren't just saying, yeah, Doc Ock. I think it's weird that you're just not.
I would like to see Doc Ock be good. Okay. I don't, but I'm kind of waiting out for Doc Ock 2, basically.
He's got fancy card coming in his new set too. They want people to use his fancy card.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the foil card?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
How many of those did you buy, Brandon, by the way? How many of those get you to the store?
I think I only ordered 4 because nobody said they wanted one in the chat.
I probably should have. Oh, well.
I'll probably buy one because I really like that new Doc Ock model. The new Spider-Man's good too.
Yep.
I wouldn't mind painting that one black. Have a different version of Amazing.
That's what a lot of people are doing.
That'd be cool.
So yeah, that was my hot take. I wondered why Doc Ock. Speaking of popularity, but I was looking at the rest of them. I don't see any of them. I wonder if Thor suffered from the same thing as Black Bolt. Is they look at him and they go, "What do we even do with you other than just straight up buff you like we did Ghost Rider? Like, what do we do to make you better?" And I guess they just couldn't figure it out. I wonder if that's what it was. They just stared at him I don't know. So I don't know how to make you more Thor. I don't know how to make you more Black Bolt. So I guess we'll just keep you as it is.
50% of the time, Thor straight up blows up the world. He's the best model in the whole world 50% of the time.
Yeah, when you walk in and roll 5 hits every time, he's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, well, just wilds. If you get those if his throws,
you get the wilds, he's scary. Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's really just power. If he can get power, he can do almost anything. But he's so power hungry. Even though he generates 2, it's the Phoenix problem. It's like, yeah, he gets more than normal, but he requires more than normal, so it doesn't matter. It's like everything he has costs 3, so he's fucking stuck.
Ugh, man, I just feel like if you're not putting Ghost Rider on the table now, if you have a 5-point slot, you better have a really fucking good reason not to put Ghost Rider on the table.
Yeah, and it can't be to play the worst tactics card that's restricted and affiliation only.
Yeah. It's just like that's every time I look at Ghost Rider. I like Ghost Rider now. He was in 80% of my list before.
Yeah, I can confirm it's literally 80%.
Yeah. He was in almost.
He's like, let's see, I got Steve Rogers, I got Iron Man, and I got Ghost Rider. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
It's like, don't judge me.
I put him everywhere, and now, I mean, Jesus, I won't be cool. I won't be cool anymore. Everybody's.
I think we're ready to move into the next segment.
Go for it.
Currently playing.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously you guys haven't played any games with the new rules because you're both lame, but I have.
Good for you. What did you think?
What's your hot take?
Ghost Rider is good. So I've been playing Dormammu in my silly list that I call Life Everlasting. And so it's Dormammu, Ultron, Ghost Rider, and Lockjaw. And then you play all 3 resurrection cards. And basically your whole list lives till turn 6. And that's how you win. It's just pretty funny. It's surprisingly good, but also terrible. Like, I don't know, it's weird. It's hard to explain. Because your list doesn't really do anything other than never die. And so it's kind of like the Asgard situation. It's like, well, I'm just going to stand here. What are you going to do? And they're like, then they try and do something, and you find a way to fuck them. You're like, all right, well, you've moved here, so now I'm going to advance Ghost Rider, play Highway to Hell, advance back, place you in the middle of my army, and then Ultron and Dormammu are just going to fucking kill your ass. It's weird. And so, yeah, I played against Criminals, which I think is the worst possible matchup for me, because I was outnumbered 6-4.
Dude.
And yeah, in Criminals, so it's like 12-4. Right. It was fucking terrible. But at the end of the game, he had 3 models still alive, and 2 of them were dazed. So, like, I just eventually got through it, and I won 16-14. We played Terrigen Clouds and Alien Ship. It was the worst. By the way, forcibly turning over Terrigen Clouds into Criminals is the fucking worst.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. I immediately hated the random mission selection. It immediately started negatively affecting my games. I don't think I'll ever come off that rock. I'm going to die on that rock.
Yeah, I feel like this podcast could be called Infamous.
Change missions back.
Infamous parentheses. Brandon hates
random missions are terrible.
Yeah. Crisis. Protocol Crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine myself honestly just putting in all the crises that I just find to be fun. Like that way I'm not pissed off at myself for fucking myself. Like
I think that is an interesting idea. I just don't know. You're just gonna get fucked though. Like there's gonna be games where like you're just like in a really low odds scenario, and I would find that so frustrating.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, let's play herbs, and then your opponent has like, I don't know, fucking Lockjaw, and you're like, oh.
That's all it takes.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you have Black Cat and Lockjaw, because, like, that's not even that surprising right now. And you're like, okay, so Black Cat picks up the herb, moves long with stealth, dog activates, places her on her own objective, she scores 4 points. And you're like, huh, well, I guess we're done. Like, it's turn 2 and we're done. Like, this is stupid.
And that's the sad part is for those reasons, you just should never actually put that in your mix. Like that one is such a swingy one that like 80% of the time doesn't matter.
Right, but then what fun ones are you playing then? Like the battle box missions? They're all fucking the same? Like what's fun about that? That's why I think the problem is everybody's going to revert back to the most basic simple missions. Sure. And every game's just going to be Infinity Formula versus Cubes, and it's going to be the worst.
Oh, I don't know any other way not to be like angry by it.
I know.
I mean,
it upsets me. So are you guys theory crafting any other lists right now?
I'm liking X-Force. X-Force and Spider Foes. Those both seem fun to me.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Nice. I've been thinking about X-Force for a while. When I was watching you blow people's faces off. I'm like rerolls upon rerolls and just like murder. I like that a lot. And then now that Winter Soldier has a machine gun, I like that, and I just want to check it out. It looks fun.
The thing about X-Force, like I said, I think Winter Soldier is going to be a great include, because what it doesn't say in that faction is that if you take the right, and I also think the expanded tactics slots is going to be a really big deal for them, because if you have the right tactics cards, it basically says, I am going to get way more actions attacking than you will. Like, that's kind of what their faction says, but it doesn't say that anywhere. There's nothing like written down anywhere that says really awesome action economy, but like no matter the cost, Wolverine early so that he can, do his spender and get in there teleport in there and then start slicing people up is fantastic. And Cable basically says, I'm going to be shooting twice every single turn of the game.
A lot of their people have charge or aggressive.
Right. Like retaliatory strikes from Sabretooth. Like, you have so many ways that's why actually I think the list got better when I took out Deadpool and started putting Zemo in. Again, more rerolls, but also Zemo has a charge. So just play, like, I think they are, it doesn't say charge like a lot of the Asgardian models does. That's what's weird about their list, is it didn't say any of those things, but then when you play them, like, wait a minute, I'm attacking like on average 3 to 4 more times per character across this game.
Yeah, you're trying to get to as close to 12 attacks per game per character as you can.
Yeah, and it works. And
just eventually the math will work out.
Yeah,
it's like, it doesn't matter if you don't blow them up early, as long as you keep making the attacks. It's all about getting the random spikes to line up where you roll high and they roll low, and you'll just punch a bunch of damage through.
Right.
You just got to take more attempts.
Yeah, and I think your idea is sound.
Oh, I like the idea now that All You Got's gone. So the other version of All You Got is attack on your opponent's turn. So there's models you can put in there that can do that too. So you just go super premium with, like, you have Venom, Sabretooth, Winter Soldier, all these models that can attack you on your opponent's turn, I think is super hot and premium too.
You should play Seeing Red.
Yeah.
Also Seeing Red.
I want someone to play that card. I think it's good. We talked about it a while back.
For me, I actually think for my love of rerolls, I actually think I'm going to go back to one of my favorite factions. It's also all painted that I have, which is Guardians. I actually think I'm going to
hot.
The only one of the other reason I'm going to play Guardians is I wonder will we go do some events, because Guardians got so many buffs. People are just going to glom onto them really hard, and I'd like to know how to beat them. I also want you guys to be able to play against them a bunch. So I love the Guardians of the Galaxy. The characters, it's my favorite Marvel movie. I love everything. I have a lot of their comics, and I'm really excited to play them all buffed up, because I played them when they weren't buffed up, and I thought they were good. So I'm excited to play them now that they're hot stuff. But I think also when we start expanding and going to other metas, I think it will pay to have Guardians of the Galaxy experience. So
yeah, that's probably true. I've been playing Dormammu a little bit before the update came out. Also, I'm pretty sure I have determined that Flames of the Faltine is very good. You do take a lot of damage, though. I don't think there's really anything you can do about that. But what else I have determined is Dormammu sucks.
You don't like his attack?
I think he is not worth 8 points. He seems very lackluster in my games. And maybe I've just gotten bad luck, but it's just like, I could replace him with basically any 8 points of models and it would be better. And so what it feels like I'm doing at this point is watching Ghost Rider drag my list across the finish line by any means necessary is what it seems like I'm doing.
I think Dormammu is not Magneto. He is not MODOK. He is not, Ghost Rider now. Like, he's not these models that'll feel like they're going to carry your whole list on your back. I think he is a 5-point model with a 3-point team affiliation. I think that team affiliation is supposed to be the thing I think they're nervous about. I guess his health also. His insane health. He
has a lot of health. Yeah. But him only having, like, 4-4-5 is great physical stats. But it was, as we've talked about, like, if that was, like, important, Hela would be good, and she's terrible.
Right.
So, like, that's not important. It's the fact that he has double Hela's hit points, and his attacks are okay. He can spike. Like, I hit 10 damage on one of my attacks, but, like, the Omega Obliteration Beam is very so-so. Like, it just doesn't seem to ever do anything, really. I guess I can't really say it. Like, he does damage, but it's like, it's 8 points, man. Like, that's a lot of points.
The Skulls thing is cool. Like, he will get work. But
yeah, he'll hit the spikes where you'll just blow up.
Right. But again, I think he's a 5-point offensive character and 3 points of health / that team ability.
Brandon, do you think your Dormammu would be better if he had both of his shoulder pads?
I knew you were going to say this. I found the other one.
Did you?
You did.
Yeah,
like
it popped. There's a little bit of a story here. I'll let Parker jump in a minute.
Yeah.
So what happened was it popped off the sprue in the bag, and so when I pulled the sprues out of the bag, I guess it fell out onto my gaming table next to my desk, and it was laying behind one of my Convergence of Cirrus models, and I moved it randomly and found it. And I was like, oh my god! I was so happy. I immediately glued it on. He looks much better now.
So second after he told me that story, now if we're moving on to hobby projects, second after he told me this story, I go, ooh, okay, cool. That's awesome that you found that. I'm really glad you found that. That's really lucky. I don't know if I could ever find that.
Yeah.
And so as I'm saying that and thinking that, I go to take my Dormammu out of the package, and I set all the sprues out. I go, oh, whoops! I took out some of the terrain. I'll put the terrain back in there, and I got the Dormammu stuff there. And I was sitting there looking. I was like, holy shit! Is that a shoulder pad? And it's just sitting there by itself on the table. I was like, what the fuck? Really? Is it that easy? And so, luckily, at that exact moment, I went, well, what sprue is this from? Why is this so easy? These shoulder pads just fall off like this. And I go to look at the sprue. The other shoulder pad is missing. I was like, oh, fucking Christ. And so I look, and it's in the bag still. When I put some things back in for the terrain, when I put the terrain back in there, it dropped down into the bag. Yeah. So word of the wise,
we're 3 for 4 between us.
Yeah.
But 3 of them fell off the sprue.
I do not know why, but whatever that sprue design is, they made that little bit of
the contact points have to just be too small.
Yeah, they're just too teeny. It was really easy. Like when I went to shave it off, I was like, I think it's already done. This is pretty darn small. So
yeah, it was fun. So hobby projects. Parker came over last Sunday and we worked on models for the first time in feels like 10 and a half years.
Yeah.
And so I am now fully assembled on the game, and I'm ready to start painting / not paint.
/ not Parker, paint?
Yeah, because I'm lazy.
Oh. Yeah, I put together Dormammu. I'm about to get a bunch of my stuff that I have painted, including my Ghost Rider, my Doctor Strange, a lot of the Midnight Suns that aren't the Dhampir, and Moon Knight. And I'm going to get back from my painter here pretty soon. Richard, shout out Richard. And so I'm almost done with that. So I'll if I'm playing Guardians, I actually am like fully painted pretty much, because Guardians are pretty much just the Guardians. Well, sorry, it'll be Guardians of Ghost Rider. So I'll be fully painted for a little while here. So for our next events, I might actually be fully painted while I play Guardians. But I'm going to keep painting probably X-Force next, honestly, because I want to keep going back to that. I love that I'm going to attack every turn thing. I love it.
Jeremy, have you worked on anything lately?
No, I'm definitely on pause until mid-December, probably. Just busy.
I just now noticed you have a Christmas tree behind you.
Yep.
I'm very observant tonight.
It is Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't even had a chance to get up to the shop. Like I've been out of town. Yeah, I've been out of town and holidays, and it's just been a mess.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much going to wrap it up for us today. We had basically all news today.
Mm-hmm.
Parker, I do have a question for you, though.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can get through this without laughing. What shoes do kidnappers wear?
Sneakers?
White Vans.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Parker is dying.
You made me cringe so hard. I changed positions like 4 times. No.
Your whole body was just like reject convulsing. Like, how do I get rid of this information?
Oh god.
I like that one. That was a good one. I found that. I was like, that's me. I'm gonna say that.
That's strong.
Oh boy.
Strong to very strong.
All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for us today. Hopefully you guys had a good time. Stay away from White Vans, everybody.
Yeah, everyone.
This has been Brandon.
And Dr. Mantis Toboggan, MD.
And Jeremy, Black Cat should be nerfed. Hashtag.
And this has been News Team Reassemble. So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible new fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down Infamous.
Shit, it's coming.
Yeah.
I gotta find underneath all the windows. There's so many windows. It's good now. Glycerine.
You're not saying it right. Glycerine.
Glycerine. Nitroglycerine. I'm gonna make a song right now.
Nitroglycerine.
Okay, so one of my favorite movies that's not very well appreciated is actually Disney's Atlantis. And the reason why Disney's Atlantis is really fun to watch is the Demolition Expert. Every scene he is in is wonderful, and one of my favorite ones is when where the main character Milo drinks a drink of a canteen, and he comes in and goes, whoa, did you just drink that? He goes, yeah. He's like, that's nitroglycerin. That's so much nitroglycerin you just drank. He's like, he's like, what should I do? I don't know. Don't move. Don't breathe. Pray, I guess, because
you just fucking with him.
Yeah, you just messing with him. Pray, and then another character comes up behind him and goes boom, and they just start laughing. But the joke comes up later in the movie where they have a big wall, and he says, "Is there any way to bring this down?" It goes, "Be really nice if we had some nitroglycerin, huh, Milo?"
Yeah.
That movie ages very, very well. As a child, I was not impressed. I think it's because it wasn't for me. I think it's actually for adults. I don't think it's for you if you're a child. I don't think it was for me in whatever that was when I was 11 years old or whatever. It was not for me.
That one was
a lot of those anime
Atlantis.
movies are.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a whole handful of those Disney movies that landed in that, like, what was that, like 98 to like 2015 or something? I don't know. There's a whole pile of them that were kind of questionable.
There was a couple really, really bad ones. Like there was some Barnyard one that it's called I think it's called Barnyard or some shit. That one was ostensibly very, very bad. They were really going
the hedge.
They were really going money grubby there for a while. I don't actually know if Atlantis was part of that, but another movie that was not a money grab, but I think it was actually a movie, but nobody likes it, is Treasure Planet. I actually like Treasure Planet, okay, but
I don't think I saw that one. I saw Titan AE. That was actually pretty good.
Titan AE that was not Disney, was it?
I don't think it was.
No, it was not Disney. It had Matt Damon.
Yeah,
I believe he was.
I didn't even know who Matt Damon was back then.
Yeah,
I thought Titan AE was awesome.
Titan AE was made by Titan After Earth. That was made by production was 20th Century Fox. Fox made that. I remember seeing that movie. I can't remember very much about it, but I do remember seeing it.
It's basically Earth has been pseudo destroyed, and all the humans had already moved on to the stars, but because they no longer had like a home world infrastructure, they were slowly fading into extinction. And so it's basically these like Star Wars Rogue-esque characters where it's like, there's the mercenary smuggler guy, and then the heart of gold like young kid guy who's trying to fix the universe, and they end up finding out that there's this thing that can create a planet, and it's called the Titan or something. And so when they find out about it, obviously other people find out about it too. It becomes this massive race to gain control of this thing, because obviously creating a planet wherever, forever, whatever you want is a big deal, and like the resources involved and everything. And so they're trying, like all these different races are trying to get a hold of it, and all he wants to do is use it so that the humans will have a new home. But it's pretty good.
Is there something wrong with your video, Brandon?
It looks fine on my side. What's wrong with it?
I actually see it's just fine.
Oh really? Let me redo mine then. Something's up.
Is it lagging? Because you're usually the one that cuts out on my screen. Jeremy goes free frame about every 5 seconds on mine.
Really? I don't get that.
Oh yeah, like every week.
Oh, by the way,
Parker never freezes, but Jeremy, like, I'm like, why isn't he moving or anything? And then it'll cut to you mid-sentence talking. I'm like, holy shit.
You were doing that a lot last week.
Oh yeah, it's I think it's something about your and my connections. It just keeps cutting out.
I'll be right back. Hold on.
Now that fucker's gone.
Do we want a comic corner today? I feel
I should probably always have one ready, and then we can do it if we want.
I feel fresh out of Comic Corners. I feel like when I looked down the list the other day, I was like, Jesus, I've done a lot of Comic Corners. What just came out? Okay, that just came out. I got nothing for that.
Do you have one with Dormammu?
I already did it. Like that's the thing is my best
the problem is you keep doing them when they get spoiled, and then when they come out, we don't have.
No,
one.
it features Stephen Strange. There's no Dormammu comic by himself. So the only like really good Stephen Strange story that I have, I already talked about a long time ago. I already did Moon Knight. There is no good Dom Pierce story that I know of. They're all bad because they all try to measure up the movie.
There's only one. It's a DVD. It's from a bunch of years ago.
Yeah.
And it's got that guy who you always bet on black.
Yeah. Some motherfuckers always like skating uphill.
I mean, I'm hoping that the new Blade stuff is going to be good, but I do not have high hopes.
I don't remember what day I went and saw Ghostbusters. Did I tell you I saw Ghostbusters?
No, you did
I
not.
haven't seen it yet.
Aha. It's good.
I went and saw Eternals.
Yeah? What'd you think?
You were missing nothing.
I don't know that's true. I think it's worth seeing, but it was not grabbing.
Let me put it this way. If I never saw the Eternals and someone was like, hey, have you watched the MCU? I go, yep, every movie. And I wouldn't feel like I was lying. Because that's how I
I love all of them. All of them that are out. And
I just watched I just watched Black Widow 2 nights ago. I loved it. I thought it was great. It felt really, really good. Black Widow movie. I was like, this is good. I'm gonna watch Shang-Chi later in Thanksgiving break. I'm really excited to see it since I watched Black Widow, but not gonna lie, after I watched the Eternals, I was not excited to watch Black Widow. I was not like, oh man, I want to get some more MCU stuff. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna go like read a comic book that's not about the Eternals or something to let me feel good about this.
I mean, I think part of that is a problem with the Eternals being like they're literally like robots. So like you're following.
I don't know about like that. I don't know, but if you made they fucking made a movie. They made a huge series about Vision. Vision's a fantastic character. I was actually just watching some MCU like screen stuff the other day. I was talking about like. The video is all about like some really strong MCU screenwriting. And there's this fantastic scene between Wanda and Vision. And I can't remember if it was from the Avengers or from WandaVision. I think it was from WandaVision. It was one of the flashbacks. So right after Pietro's killed and they're in the Avengers mansion and she's like, I can't get over this grief. I can't get over this sorrow. And he says, but it's not all like sorrow isn't all like negative. It's not all bad because he's like, what is grief if not love persevering, right? Like that is so good. Like a synthezoid, an automaton coming to grips with the fact that he's never been around anybody. He's been incapable of forming camaraderie his entire existence. And he's fascinated by this person and sympathetic to this person, even though he's a synthezoid. He's sympathetic to this person who's lost somebody who literally had somebody from birth. And that is in the MCU. And then all that bullshit in the Eternals is also in the MCU. And the Eternals was not a bad movie. I will not give it a C-, but I will give it a C+. That was
Yeah, I think they didn't spend long enough developing the characters because in all the other MCU movies, for the most part, there's like the part where you meet the character and then there's growth over time.
Yeah.
And the relationships that build. There was no time to even understand the relationships really.
Yeah. There's only one thing about that movie that actually made me excited, and that was the not the post-credit scene. Was it post-credit? The first post-credit scene and the second post-credit scene. Those were the things that made me most excited about that movie. And that's a bad thing, right? If you're most excited about the things that's going to happen next, because this movie was not really worth the time. I will say this though, it didn't make me cringe. I wasn't sitting there going like, "Ooh, that was really bad," or "Ugh." It wasn't a cringy movie. It was more of a. I was watching my watch at some points, just like, okay.
Yeah, you can always tell a movie's really good when you're like, "Oh no, I think this is about to wrap up. Oh my god, I want so much more." You know,
right? I was every time you realize that you're in like a 5-act movie and you're like, oh my god, how many acts are there? This is just how many times are they going to ramp up this movie? I remember the very first time I ever felt like that was in Dark Knight. Dark Knight was the first time I was like, oh my god, this movie never ends, and I don't want it to. This is so amazing.
I felt that way in Endgame. I was like, oh no, is it over? Like, is that the end of this movie? And then it kept going. I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Well, the one that's the most like known for that is Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Return of the King was like,
Jesus Christ,
I should not have gotten a large drink. Like, this is terrible.
It faded in and out at least 6 times. Like, you're like, okay, all right, okay,
well,
okay.
That was just the weirdest final act of a movie ever, where you just wanted to cut. I've shown you the Gandalf. I've shown you that, right?
I believe so. Oh my God.
Parker, I'm amazed that your fucking headset has such a long cord.
Look at this.
It's like 30 feet long.
It is
like
insane.
A 1960s phone cord length.
I don't know why. I don't know why this thing.
You have meters. Like,
yes.
Yeah, mine barely has space to run from me to my freaking computer on the ground.
When I got my new one, I was like, what the fuck is this? This thing is only like as long as an iPod cord. This is dumb as shit. Like, it's like the charger for some things, and I'm used to.
You could be sent down into a well to do work with that headset.
If someone ever sneaks in my house, if I'm running out of paracord, I can just use this thing and tie them up. Like, I could definitely tie their whole body to a chair.
You can certainly remain in contact with whomever you're talking to whilst running around your house.
Yes.
Where are you at?
I'm in the living room.
The cord, you're gonna find him.
I'm in the living room now.
Oh my God.
I'm still on 911. I'm still in the living room now.
One of the biggest quality of life things for people, I think they don't think they realize, is buy a phone charge cable that's not 3 feet long. Like, it's a game changer. Like, people are always like, it's one of those things you don't realize you want until you get like a 12-footer, and you're like, wait, I could just go wherever I want in my room and my phone's still charging. It's like a big deal. It sounds stupid, but it's so convenient.
My life changed in that way with the like, I have a metal plate in the back of my phone, and I've got a magnet.
Oh yeah, the magnet thing.
Oh my God. Like, my whole world changed when I started pulling my phone out and just clicking it on the magnet, pulling it back and forth, like, without having to adjust stuff. Oh, that was a game changer.
Okay. I've done this one.
Yeah, so skip Eternals for those folks listening, and go see Ghostbusters. Good move. That's a good move.
Yeah. Or actually, I'm actually excited. I'm going to watch Hawkeye. I actually think Hawkeye is going to be super fun.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I'm really excited.
2 episodes out now, right?
Yeah, the two just posted. Yeah, 2 just. I think it was today actually, maybe, or yesterday.
Okay, I was like, did I miss it?
No, it's 2 today or yesterday.
I'm saving it up.
Ooh, Parker, Dexter is amazing.
Oh really?
Yep.
New Dexter is fucking awesome.
I watched the first episode. I'm saving them up a little bit. So I've got.
Are they all out? I've only seen the first one.
There's the first, second, and the third one, I believe, are out right now.
Ooh.
I watched the first one.
Yeah, it started a little slow, and I wasn't sure about it. But then as it got going, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is exactly what I wanted."
Were they able to recapture some of that magic?
Yeah, you got to watch it.
Okay.
I don't want to say anything.
Good. It feels really good.
It feels great. Yeah, it's going in a very good direction, and they have a lot of opportunity to do some good stuff.
And it's fresh. It's not like he's in the middle of the shit show he was in for like the last 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Where you're like, this dude's going to jail.
It feels real. Like, it feels like we never missed anything. Like, it feels like Dexter Morgan all over again. Like, it doesn't feel like they had to retcon anything. It doesn't feel like anything's, like, out of place. It feels like someone put a lot of thought into where the story was going.
Yeah, I'm happy so far with the first episode. Yeah. I think, and it's only supposed to be 1 season, I think. I could be wrong.
Long it's going to be. I mean, who knows if it goes crazy? But I know the original writer wanted the show to end after season 4, which was widely considered the best season. And then a lot of people say it went downhill, which is true. Like, it never lived up to seasons like 2 or 4 again. But it was still pretty good, I think. It's better than most shows, but it wasn't up to its normal standards. But yeah, I think that the original writer is back on for this, and so I'm not sure if they're going to keep it going or not.
Yeah, I finally have a bunch of shows kind of back in my in the hopper, like, that I can kind of watch now that I know that I enjoy. Did you ever watch Succession on HBO? Oh my God. That is so worth a watch.
What's it about?
This super rich family that owns a network television kind of thing. Super rich.
Okay.
The father is in charge of all of it. He's got a bunch of kids, and all of them are money grubbing like nightmares. And basically, they try and steal it from him. And it's just this battle of money and just greed and just awful people. Awful.
Okay.
Really, really good. And then if you have Showtime, Billions is really, really good too.
Which show? Billions?
Uh-huh. And it's just, again, it's another one where it's about money and greed and just what people are able to do with just a bit. Like one of the quotes in it, and it's so, it kind of like goes with everything, is I have fuck you money. Like he does stuff just to spite with millions and millions of dollars. And he basically, this billionaire gets in a battle with the district attorney, and the district attorney wants to like catch this billionaire in shenanigans. And the billionaire is just like, fuck you, man, I'll do what I want. And he keeps spending money, and they try to catch each other, and it's just a mess. It's another one of those, like, we'll never see that kind of money and understand what that's like.
Yeah, we did an exercise in high school in my Votech class. We were just like, just to put in perspective on how much money $1 billion is, like, we asked somebody, like, what would you consider to be an item that you would be something you could never realistically buy without, like, life-altering events to make you save that money? And he's like, well, like, I would always want to buy a new Corvette, but I don't think I'll ever be able to. So we looked up the price of, like, the brand new Corvettes. It was like $68,000 or something at the time. Brand new off the lot. We're like, all right, so then drop another $500 on a crate of dynamite, and we'll just blow one up every day. And we'll just do the math on how long it takes for that to, like, run out of money. And it's just, like, an absurd time period. Because it's like, let's just call it $70,000.
Like 4,000 years.
Yeah, it's 14,285 years. Or days.
Yeah.
Days. Divided by 365. Yeah, it's 40 years of doing that. You'd eventually run out of money.
Sure. Yeah, you see the post on YouTube or whatever.
And that's assuming you're not collecting interest on the money. Because then you would literally never run out.
The one that's shocking is here's a handful of rice. Here's what it's like to be a trillionaire in comparison to that. And it's, just 400 pounds of rice compared to, what $1 million looks like. It's so insane.
One guy did another visual experiment with, it was the national budget. And so he got pennies from the bank and he stacked them on his coffee table. And they're like 5 deep, completely covering his coffee table. It's like, all right, this is the national budget. And now the cuts they suggested are this. He picks up 1 penny, cuts it in half, cuts it in half again into quarters, takes one of the quarters out, and puts the 3 quarters back on there. It's like, all right, that's the cut suggestion. It's like, do you see the issue? Like people just can't comprehend this much money. Like it just doesn't, like the values are just zeros at this point. Like there's no actual like understanding. Because like if I gave you $100, you could understand like the value of that $100 pretty easily. And then to even $1,000, you could realistically comprehend all the stuff you could do and accomplish and buy with that $1,000. Then up to 10,000, it starts getting to the gray area, because it's like, well, I could put it towards like a very large investment, like a house or a car, but like individually, how far $10,000 goes is kind of ambiguous, because it's like, well, now you're not able to keep track of everything you could spend that on in small increments, and then do that like 8 more times in increases, and you're like, yeah, like I have no idea, like it's just too much. But anyway, are you guys excited for the holiday season?
Not sure yet. Oh, P.S. Yesterday I am officially divorced, and it feels weird. By the way, side note.
What do you mean you weren't like fully divorced?
Paperwork and stuff wasn't done.
It takes time, yeah.
Yeah, like from start to finish. Yeah, it was a little bit weird.
Words were said, hands were shaken, but like officially it hasn't happened yet.
It happened, right? And like I was doing emails and things, and I would get something and be like, sign this, do this, and I would do it, and then all of a sudden I get one, and it's like, okay, well, here's your paperwork. And the whole time you're getting this stuff that's, legalese, and you're just like, I don't know what this means exactly, but I kind of do. I'm signing it, whatever. So I got one, and I was kind of like, this seems to be kind of final. I was like, is this, and I had to message back, or I had to email back, like, hey, do I need to do anything else, or like where am I at? Like, is there one more? What's going on? And they're like, no, you're officially divorced. That was your final decree. So I took a screenshot of that and I sent it to Janet, and I'm like, I guess we're divorced now. And she was like, boy, that was kind of cold, or something along those lines. I go,
Yeah.
I thought we were at least supposed to like fist bump or something. Like, I'm like, I don't know
Yeah.
what you're supposed to officially do. It's just so weird. Like, just weird. I guess I watched too many movies and stuff. Like, it just wasn't. Like, okay.
You're used to the gavel slamming down. You're like, it's done. You're like, nope.
But I mean, we didn't fight over
3 more months of paperwork.
There was nothing that was contested or anything. So it really was a matter of like, just sign these things and be done. But it was really weird.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jermiger Consagon back on the market.
Yep. Real weird.
Parker, are you doing all the Thanksgivings?
Actually, this year's pretty tame. Everybody's getting so entangled with all, everybody's family has some other family. So this year it's been pretty simple. I'm going to go to my brother's tomorrow for the afternoon, and going to go to Sarah's great aunts in Topeka. Well, I say Topeka. It's like country way outside Topeka, but do that on Friday, and then that's it. That's all. That's why I get to go to tournament on Saturday, because there's really nothing else going on.
All I hear you say is COVID.
Yeah.
COVID.
Well, most everyone we're going to is vaccinated. I think, trying to think of somebody who's not. I think all the people who aren't vaccinated at this point are the kids kids that weren't able to. Cecilia had her first vaccination today. Got her first shot today. And I think all the other kids her age, the youngest kids, are also not vaccinated. But I think every other person is vaccinated. So it'd have to come through a kid.
Well, it's my understanding now that you have to already have your vaccinations to get COVID. Because everyone I know is like double, triple vaccinated and also still getting COVID. They're not dying, and it's not a political statement or anything.
Right.
It's just like a crazy dynamic happening in the country. It's crazy.
Well, I will say this. My mom just this weekend came over, and 2 people she knows, one of them just straight up died from COVID the other day. A friend of a friend, who just straight up died from it. He wasn't vaccinated, nothing, just finally got it and died. And then another person she knows who got COVID very early on in the onset, very soon after, had a stroke. Blood clot, which is one of the things associated with COVID. So they're like, let's go ahead and, they decided after to do a CT scan, and she's just full of clots, all
Good
like
Lord.
just straight up, very COVID related post-COVID symptom for folks her age, and she died. And had 2 more strokes, and they couldn't bring her back. So my mom has known 2 people died recently from COVID or COVID related issues, and so what's funny is that my mom and my dad, they're very much a kind of little island of rationality in a sea of conservatives that they live in. They love to live in the country, and so a lot of those guys are hyper conservatives, and so but that's who they know that's been dying of COVID. And so all those guys, the whole community, that good old boy community around them, has been forced to look in the mirror and be like, shoot, do I want to get killed by COVID? Do I want to die from COVID? And so they've all been kind of staring at each other going, am I going to die from COVID? And my dad's going, you guys might die from COVID. I got my vaccination. I feel like I can get COVID. I'll be okay. But you guys might die from COVID. You probably should get the vaccine. He's been trying not. My dad doesn't mince words either. So it's and what's funny is that when she told me about it, she told me can you believe it? That I know someone who's died from COVID. I'm like, Mom, I can't believe that you haven't met anybody seriously from COVID until now. That tells me your friend group is so small, and it is. She doesn't know hardly anybody. She doesn't really have a social circle that extends very far. But the fact that you haven't met somebody who's had a serious altercation and death from COVID is weird. That's the weird part.
Mm-hmm.
And then I stopped her. I go, Mom, didn't your cousin die from COVID? A COVID-related stroke? And she goes, oh yeah, like she had a cousin that died from it. It just didn't occur to her then. But so yeah, it's just get the vaccine.
My boys got theirs, and they had a competition of who didn't flinch or who took it the worst.
Nice.
And Gabe was the champion.
Well done.
And yeah, he manned up and he was like, "Yeah, I would get it again."
Good luck. Yeah.
How many more do I need? Like, I'll keep taking them. Just
cute.
keep zapping me in the arm. Eli's, yep, yeah, I got a little. I didn't like it so much.
Okay. Cece, we had to cancel her first appointment. I said we had to, but we got an appointment at some random clinic, and then we found out from a friend who went to Children's Mercy that they have tons of like things for kids who are seriously stressed out about it. Cecilia goes, she'll climb up a wall. Like she's a deal maker. She'll start screaming like, I'll do anything. Like she'll start. It's really like she gets extreme anxiety about it. So we prepped her for about a week, and we canceled our original appointments for some random clinic and went to Children's Mercy, and they're awesome. They have so many like devices, not just distraction devices, but actual like devices. Like there's this one thing called a shot blocker, which I thought was awesome. It's basically like it looks like a half moon shape with little hard rubber cones stuck to the bottom of it, and they just press it on the kid's arm where the shot's going to go, and basically that kind of pin pricking, but not dangerous, not painful, that kind of pin pricking around the area. It numbs the sensation. Your body has a hard time picking out that versus the actual shot itself. And so it just makes it very easy for them. They don't feel the stick nearly as hard because they've got these other little like hard rubber cones pushing on their arm. All kind of other things, like non-anesthetic, like not changing their chemical makeup at all, just psychological and central nervous.
Another fun little trick is if while you're right when they're about to stick you with the needle, if you smash your hand with a hammer, you will not even notice.
Yeah,
that's true.
The last thing you'll notice is the fact that you're getting an injection when every bone in your hand is broken.
I like to throw sand in my boys' eyes, like about the time it's going to happen. They don't even notice the shot. Pocket sand. I hate injections and stuff too. I'm not like afraid of needles, but every time I get an injection, all I can think about is like the needle snapping off inside my arm, and it's the most uncomfortable sensation I can imagine. And it just worming its way all the way through.
Yeah, it's just like I can just imagine like they go to inject me and sneeze, and it just snaps the needle, and I'm oh my god, it freaks me out. And so it's very an uncomfortable situation for me. So
I'm a grown ass man.
I can get past it, but like it takes a second to gather my thoughts before I can like block it out.
I am a grown ass man, but I remember this very vividly. When I was like in second grade, I had a shot, like a booster or something for a vaccine or something, and the doctor said, he's like, you got a button? Just squeeze a button. That's what he does. He's like, I can squeeze my buttons on my shirt. I go, I don't have a shirt with buttons. He goes, well, do you have any buttons? You got a button on your fly, don't you? I go, yeah. He goes, squeeze that. And so I squeezed my fly button, and it worked.
I don't like where this story is going.
It totally worked. That's it. I know it sounds like I'm about to say, and then he blew me off. No, it was just that was it.
Yeah.
And so
now that you've squeezed it, go ahead and unclamp that.
Now you're good. Yeah. I'll
maybe undo the button so you get a better grab on it.
I'll do yours, you do mine, and we'll get done with this shot today. No, it's that was it. Like that was the whole thing. And to this day, that is what I do. That is what I do. I was just very calmly, when I'm about to shot, I just grab a hold of that button and I just squeeze it, and it works great.
I don't understand. Is it just the tactile sensation of like distracting yourself?
It's just squeezing something between my finger. It's just two fingers, my thumb and my pointer finger, and I just squeeze it hard, and that's all I need. Because he said, and the doctor said, and this is actually something we've been learning about with Cece, is you don't want to like squeeze your whole arms. You want to grab your elbows or like have like a doll or something like that, because it actually constricts those muscles in your upper arm.
Your upper arm to be loose.
Right. So you don't want to do that. That's why it's better to have something like in your hands, doing something that distracts you with your hands. Or also, they even like for Cece, they even had like this warm, lack of a better term, like massager basically, and it was they put it underneath her arm to just kind of like loosen the muscle and try to relax her muscle, because she would have the instinct to clench it and to protect herself. So they try to do whatever you can to keep the muscle looser, because that's what a lot of people like, grab their arm or tense their muscles, of course, because that's what you do when you're about to have an impact or something, but that's not what you want to do for a shot. So you want to do the opposite of that. So that's what works for me. But to this day, full grown ass man, still do what I did in second grade, and it totally works. Feels good every time.
That's stupid.
You know that the fear of needles is the only one where your blood pressure drops from being afraid.
Really?
Yes. Ask me how
like
I know.
Actual thing?
How do you know?
When
Did you
I
pass
was in
out?
school, when I was in school, I'm the one who during flu shot season, and you had to get one, would wake up in the hallway because I'd fucking pass out at school.
Yeah.
Like I don't do it anymore, but I will when I get blood drawn. It freaks me the fuck out, and it causes that to happen. Like I'll pass out on them, and I have to tell them that. I'm like, dude, like I don't. I'm telling you right now.
I'm gonna go to sleep now. Just
I'm
keep doing your thing.
And they're like, oh, it's no big deal. Like, okay, so we need to like do what? And I'm like, you need to put me in a spot where you're not gonna have to get my giant ass up off the floor. Like, I'm telling you
Do you have a
right
gurney?
now.
I'll just lay down right now.
But yeah, no, it's the only fear that people have that it drops your blood pressure, and that's why you pass out. You pass out. Fucking crazy.
I believe it.
I wonder if it's related to like the mental like understanding that they're taking blood away from you.
There's something with it, man. Yeah,
it's got to be some kind of like psychological
like primal
effect.
Yeah, it's like a primal like instinct of like, well,
it's like your body
dying.
shuts down like the processes because it thinks it's gonna be low on blood.
Well, it is true. Like one of the reasons why some people like say like the concept of squeamishness, like if I see somebody else's blood or if I see an animal's blood, I can get squeamish. That actually comes from a protection mechanism, right? Like you see, it's an aversion. The same reason that poop smells bad. You're supposed to biologically be averse to it. When you see the blood, it's an instinct like, oh, like this is blood, this is the inside of an animal, this is maybe the inside of me. I should be very nervous. I should be going away from it. It's your body's way of saying, hey, get out of this situation. This could be really bad for you.
It's just this instinctual internalization of like your insides being on the outside is really bad. Don't let that happen.
This should not be. Do not want. You should get out of there. I once had to explain that. Speaking of like kids at school, I had a kid. We were doing dissections, and I was like, just so you guys know, like we're going to go inside of creatures, and it doesn't matter how tough you are, it doesn't matter what part of the hood you come from, like you're gonna, like you might get squeamish. It's just a body's natural reaction to seeing something that it does not want to have around it. So don't act tough. Just let me know, and I can help you out. And if you see if somebody else is too weak to let me know, look at your neighbor, like tell me what's up. And so we're in the middle of we're watching a dissection, and somebody's cutting open an eyeball. And somebody comes up to me and grabs the hem of my shirt and says, like I think Ricardo can't handle this. And so I go over there, and he is just gray, like a piece of It
looks like he's been bleeding like for hours.
Yeah, well, it looks like he looks like a piece of fish meat that's too old. Like that's the color he is. And I go, why don't you go get a drink of water? He's like, no, I can do it. He's just like fading hard. I'm like, no, let's get your drink of water, and Sue can help you. And I was like, Sue, get this, walk with him, don't let him, if he falls down or something, let me know. She goes, okay. And so we go, he goes in the hallway, he gets a drink of water, he comes back with more flesh tones. And so I'm like, Ricardo, I'm not gonna tell you can't do this. I know you've been excited about this for weeks, but if you stay for this, you've got to know your limits. You got to be able to let me know. He goes, okay. And so that kid like white knuckles it the whole time. Like he's holding on to the edge of the desk. Just like if I fall asleep, if I fall down, he's going to kick me out. I can't let that happen. And he makes it the whole time. I make him stay afterwards. I have a pop on me. I give him a pop. I was like, here's some sugar, man. Just like stay here. Don't go to your next hour. Just sit here in this seat. And I had him sit there for 10 minutes, drink a pop. He looked okay. He looked like he was ready to go. It's like, you feel like you can keep going? He goes, yeah. Everybody was like, why does he get a pop? I was like, shut up. he gets what I'm trying to keep someone to save his life. I do the same for you. And so he gets up, he goes to leave. He makes it 2 steps out of my room. Bam! Falls down on the ground.
I was not expecting that. Just fucking collapses.
Yeah, 2 steps out of my room. It was the only time.
But you gave him the Coke. What was wrong?
He was just still like too far gone. It wasn't enough. Like couldn't handle it. And that's the only time. Like I've had a lot of, in science class, you deal with things like scalpels, and I've had kids that are cutters in my class with scalpels before, and I've been like, oh man.
And then that's when you're white.
Yeah. I'm just like, I'm trying real hard to like be really cool with this, but I've never had a kid like struggle with that. I've never had a student, ever be like, oh, I can't handle this, even if this is a serious situation, serious danger. I've had kids, handle, pretty dangerous chemicals before, and reactions that cause chlorine gas and all kind of stuff, things that I told them about beforehand. Here's all the chemical review, and they all handle it like it's plutonium. They do a great job. That's the only time I've ever had to call an ambulance is a kid saw some blood in a video and couldn't handle it. But
we went on a field trip when I was in school, and there's this weird little like walkthrough thing, and so the whole thing was about like anatomy and stuff. And we walk into this giant like room that's shaped like a heart and it's painted up. It looks like a heart. So we walk in through one of like the ventricles, and then there's an operating table in the middle of this big dome room. And you go to look down, and they've mounted a TV inside of this like fake body looking thing, and you watch them perform open heart surgery on somebody on the monitor. But they're playing these like loud, low heartbeat rhythm noises in the place, and it's like 90 degrees in that room, and that triggered me, and I got really lightheaded, and I had to leave.
Yeah,
but I've never had that sensation anywhere else. But I was just thinking about it on the outside. I was like, why would you make a room like that?
That's
like,
terrible.
all you're gonna do is fucking get kids to pass out.
Yeah,
like, I was like 10 years old.
That's like every choir teacher ever has to have that talk. Like, don't lock your knees. Don't lock your knees. Because kids will get up there and just start vomiting all over other kids. It's the weirdest thing. And it happens constantly. Like, it's so
and once
strange.
One kid goes, they're all gonna go.
It's just a cascade.
Yeah.
It's like the damn South America, those huge fucking waterfalls. It's like those. Just everywhere.
Is that why you're not supposed to lock your knees? I thought it's because you would pass out. Is it you vomit? I didn't know that was the reaction.
I remember in choir. Now you got me wanting to research. I remember in choir, my teacher always saying like, you shouldn't lock your knees. Knees induce. I thought it was just like not like nausea in general, right? Like they're nervous because they're standing up in front of things.
Oh, I guess I could see if you're already nervous and then you were also lightheaded.
Right. It says faint.
I guess that makes sense.
Okay. Orthostatic is when you stand there and you lock your knees for a long time, pools the blood in the leg veins as it doesn't move up high enough to the brain, and that can cause fainting. But this is a fainting one. It says church, graduations, weddings, choir, that kind of stuff. But I don't see what causes the vomiting. Like, what is it that, like, I remember, gosh, every choir teacher I've ever met, they've always been so sure that they're going to have a vomiting, and they're just terrified of it.
I just find that the young kids just always are fucking vomiting. There's just like always some sort of bug going around.
I imagine something to do with nerves and the lightheadedness, low blood pressure. Because if you start getting dizzy and with low blood pressure, I could definitely see the nerves turning into vomiting. But I've never heard that before, so.
Yeah, I can't find anything online, but I don't know if I'm searching the right thing either. But apparently, yeah, the locking your knees for a long period of time can cause fainting. That could happen. But I remember the choir concerts, man.
Maybe your choir teacher is just a fucking idiot.
I mean, like all the choir teachers that I've met before, maybe other people don't have that experience, and this is very strange. But I feel like this is one of those universal fears. Sorry for choir teachers. Definitely one of my universal fears is the fire alarm is going to go off. I don't know any science teacher worth their salt. If you haven't once thought like, oh man. If your butthole didn't pucker up at least once because of the fire alarm, then you probably haven't been doing science.
You're going to empty the school because some kid made chlorine gas.
Okay, I have made chlorine gas, but the detectors don't pick that shit up because they don't assume that that's going to happen. They do pick up CO and CO2, but you don't make carbon monoxide. You do make carbon dioxide, but carbon dioxide has to be insane contents before like those things go off. They do pick up like humidity though. A lot of firearms pick up a like high degree of humidity. They go off, but I think it's more of a problem. Like most fire alarms just can't differentiate between the humidity and something else. But I have filled my room full of actual just smoke before, and been like, oh man. But well, it's always like alcohol. We're burning alcohol, right? So it's one of those smokes that doesn't make like a thick billowy smoke, but it smells really intense. I've got a big fan in my room now, but when I was teaching in the hood, like I didn't have chemical fans to suck air out of the room. Like we were just in there with it.
It's just a concrete box full of danger.
Yeah, it was no bueno. It was even their chemical lab. It was their chemistry room. It still didn't have anything. That was the best they had. Like I was in a room. One of the walls was a museum piece. It was giant glass cabinets for like microscopes and stuff, like to put things on display. It was a super awesome, like classical science room, but no safety. The one cool bit was the chemical closet that I had was use that chemical closet, right? You're supposed to make like very, very, fireproof and chem proof. What they had done, these old school dudes, these OG like chem professor guys, they lined the entire thing with asbestos, which is very fireproof. And then to make for a blast door, instead of making like something super strong in fiberglass, they used, like, I'm not shitting you, like 4-inch solid white oak. And that door, that door would, like, when you open and close that door, it had a big ass handle on it, because that was the only thing that could handle the weight of that door. And you'd pull that handle and you'd swing that door open, and it was like open up a door at fucking Hogwarts. It was huge. And you swing that thing. And one day I told my students, I was like, if we ever have an intruder, they have like intruders, right? The intruder drills. I go, in the case of an actual intruder, we're all going in this chem closet. They're like, why are we going there? Mr. Guidry smells in there. I go, because if I don't care who the fuck comes in that room, nobody comes through that door. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Like, you're going to have the most serious, you're going to have the jaws of fucking life to get through that door. Like, no gun is punching through this door. This door is 110-year-old dried 4-inch wide white oak. Like, there is nothing coming through this door. I don't care. Like, you're more likely to rip the hinges down than you are to take a piece of this door apart. It's insanely strong. And so that was their solution to what if there's an explosion in the chem lab closet. They just
won't escape the room.
We'll just make it so that it can't go through this piece of wood we put here. Like,
good enough.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we better get started.
Yeah.
We've been.
Oh shit! It is late. Fuck. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You just spent 40 minutes talking about your goddamn liberal politics. So.
Yeah.
I guess.
Let's get. I'll get down off my soapbox. The altitude's high up here anyway. The air is thin up high on my soapbox.
Goodbye.
Reassembled.
Reassembled. Are we the reassemblers?
Yeah.
We can't be the assemblers because Jeremy doesn't put shit together.
I just won't. Use.
Oh boy. Are you guys excited for like the new game that we have now, the 1.1?
Yeah, man. I'm in. I like.
Are you? Because you seem to be very out. Because we haven't seen you in like 3 weeks.
Oh no, I'm fucked, man. I'm fucked. Like, I've been in Chicago all last week, and now I'm in Chicago. I was in Chicago this week, and it's all Christmas parties and fucking Thanksgiving horse shit.
Do you just work in Chicago and commute daily now? I don't understand.
Oh my god. I got on a plane Monday morning, and I just got off the plane again Wednesday or today.
Ooh.
I've done that 2 weeks in a row, and it fucking blows.
I assume you're only flying back for the podcast, and you're leaving tomorrow to go back to Chicago, right?
Oh yeah, they paid me to do that.
Guys, I can fly to Chicago to run your business for you, but I got a podcast I do remotely from home.
I will not bring my laptop. I will not bring the resources to do this in Chicago.
God, that would be hilarious. Have you at least gotten to Lou Malnati's yet?
No, I don't have a car. I get fucking dropped off there, and that's where I'm at.
Rent a car!
It's not like there's no... Oh my god.
Just tell them they have to book you a hotel with
Uber.
a shuttle.
Just Uber.
Yeah, Uber.
Like 45 minutes outside of Chicago, man. It's just...
It's not. Oh, you are 45
minutes
outside
of Chicago? Oh.
It's fucking horrible. It's the equivalent of like Oak Grove. It's like, you need to go to Kansas City. I'm like, cool. Wait, what's Oak Grove?
Fly your ass into Paola. You're like, where the fuck am I? There's cows. This is nothing but cows.
Yeah, I don't go out there again until the end of December, and then I'm done. But
you should at least get Portillo's while you're out there. There's Portillo's all over that fucking place.
I did get some deep dish pizza last night, and it was good. It's not the same. No, not at all.
Lou Malnati's Master Race.
It for sure.
I remember when we went to Chicago, you're like, there are a bunch of good places to eat here. And you brought me to some bullshit, something, and I was.
Was it the chili dog place?
It was like a Fuddruckers like inverted itself and exploded in 1,000 dimensions.
Like
that's Portillo's.
Fuck the hot dog.
Yeah, it was some combination of circus, carnival, and cafeteria.
Yeah, it was weird.
That's Portillo's.
And I was wondering where all the fat people are around here. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, we found it.
And the place that's famous for cheese and chili dogs.
Yeah, you were like, hey Parker, you like shitting like a pet coon all day long, don't you? I'm like, yeah, I guess.
Well, you didn't tell me at the time that your Gastel track was like held up with like fucking silly string.
Duct tape and dreams, man. So so we went there. That was like it was. I was like, this is garbage, but it's you know. It's kaleidoscopic
it's like,
to the eyes. It's worse than
yeah, exactly.
And so then
no, it's like shitty like ballpark food, but like it's done fairly well.
So the next time you're like, let's go to this other place. I heard, you know, do you like Chicago Deep Dish Pizza? I go, I can't think I've ever had that. You're like, well, let's go ahead here. I think you might like this place. I went there and I sat down and went, do you guys make a mule? He goes, yeah, we make a mule. And so they made a mule, best fucking mule I think I've ever had up to that point. I had one after that, but it was better. But I was like, that was amazing. And you brought me this. What is this? A pie? This is a cake? This is a casserole? What is this? No, it's called Chicago Deep Dish Pizza done correctly. And I'm like, holy shit.
I've had deep dish pizza probably 8 times, and most of the time it's been at Adepticon. And every time I've been like, this is very, like, not good. Like, I would rather just have, like, Jack's Pizza out of the oven. Like, it's not the consistency and everything. It's just, like, it just doesn't have flavor. It's just, like, cheese and grease. And, like, I can never taste the food. And then we went to Lou's. And literally, I almost refused to go. And then we finally went, and they're like, all right. And then we got the full pizza, and we bit into it. I was like, what is this? And he's like, it's just deep dish pizza. I was like, no. This tastes so different than any other deep dish pizza I've ever had. I can't even understand. Like, it's so amazing in comparison.
And that was it. And then he tried to be like, hey, you want to go somewhere else? I'm like, no, I'm driving to Lou Malnati's. You were in the car with me. You're welcome to like jump out and roll, but I'm not going anywhere else.
It's the equivalent of like drinking Bud Light your entire life and then having actual good beer and then trying to go backwards, and you're like, you can't go backwards.
I wasn't
like there is no backwards.
I wasn't willing to go anywhere else in that city.
Mm-hmm.
The best story of Adepticon, one of the best ones I always tell people, is the time we went there. And then the next night, we were like, we're obviously going back there, right?
Yeah, we didn't even talk about it. We were like, all right, you ready to go get food? He's like, yeah, some guy asked where we're going, and we just all three were like, we're going to Lou's. Yeah. Just get in the car.
Just fucking copied and pasted.
It was never up for debate.
Yeah.
We just had 6 pounds of pizza yesterday.
Oh my God.
It's like, yes, we're going back. Like, there's not even close to a question.
Why?
Like, when we drive to Adepticon, we go to Lou's first, and then we go to the hotel to check in.
Yeah.
Oh, man, we could hit it 3 times. Shit, that's tech.
They could.
Oh man,
that's what all the cool kids.
All right, well, this has been a pretty successful podcast. We ranted about stuff and things happened.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. All right, are you guys good to wrap up? You want to talk about anything else?
No, we need to wrap up because we got Thanksgiving tomorrow.
To work.
Oh, we didn't say what we're thankful for. We gotta do thankful stuff, right? Just kidding. Never mind. What?
I love it.
You guys ready?
I dare not. Yeah, I love it.